Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Timcast IRL. I am your guest host filling in for our boy Tim Pool. He is out of the hospital. He's just got a hair transplant. So when next time you guys see him, he's going to have a full head of hair. I know it's been a while, but that hair, it takes a minute. So Tim's going to be looking like a superstar very shortly. But before we get into this tonight's show, we got a very special guest. We got, some crazy women, some smart women, some beautiful women. I do want to shout out cashbrew.com. Guys, go support the Pimp on a Blimp and Tim Pool and the whole entire crew here, Serge, Phil, the guys that work so hard, and go buy a little bit of this American-made coffee. None of that Chinese bull crap that probably has fentanyl in it that's going to give you some sort of heart, murmur. That stuff's not good, but we got the cleanest, purest, strongest coffee made this side of the Mississippi River, and I really encourage you guys to go to cashbrew.com and buy some. And then as well, we got boonieshq.com. We got a huge skate event tomorrow here. It's not necessarily open to the public, but you guys are going to be able to watch it on YouTube and Rumble. You do not want to miss it. I think Tim is going to drop in, and you're going to be able to see his new hair. So if you guys want to see the hair reveal, you definitely want to watch this. And also go buy a board. We got the Don't Be Gay board, the Be Gay board. I think one of them sold out, but I guess we restocked. So definitely go there. And now, Tim's got the independent logo back. That was a big news story. So if you guys really want to support Tim and you love skating, definitely go to boonieshq.com. All right, with all that being said, we got a wonderful panel. Can we introduce everybody here? We got the one, the only, Libby Emmons. Libby, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good, Alex. How's it going?
Are you nervous that I'm hosting? Because I know Tim's scared to death.
No.
Okay,
I think you're going to be awesome.
I have my Tuck
I'm
Friendly.
rooting for you.
I have my Tuck Friendly on underneath this. I'm going to whip it off.
Oh, that's awesome.
My women's bathing
I
suit.
loved that stunt from you. I'm Libby Emmons. I'm here from the Postmillennial and HumanEvents.com. Glad to be here.
Hey, Libby. I'm Karys Rhea. Born
Who are you? What do you do?
California. I shower every day.
No. What do you do? What do you do? You have the Israel flag. Do you work for Benjamin Netanyahu? Let's be clear. What do you do? Who do you work for? And what do you got going on, Karys?
Who works for Mossad? I'm former producer at Epoch Times and Newsmax, and now I'm sitting on my couch every day and writing a book.
We love that. Okay, and now we have Jamie. Jamie Reed, author, whistleblower. What's going on, Jamie? Tell us about yourself.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm Jamie Reed. I am a whistleblower from a pediatric transgender center. So this has been a really heavy week and have been being asked lots of questions to kind of weigh in with my expertise, what I know about these kids who are being transitioned. Yes, from Missouri, shut down that clinic, then shut down all of those clinics in Missouri, moved on and have been testifying across the country to try to get pediatric transitions banned across the U.S.
We love that. The show me state, but do not show me those messed up genital mutilation that you got going on. We don't want to show us that. Okay, well, you know who we always have here, Serge on the ones and twos, but Phil Labonte, he's a badass lead singer, and he's freaking, he's jacked up, Phil. And when I'm next to you, I feel a little, you just made me feel
overflow of testosterone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm about to start taking TRT because of you,
the full beard is back, and that's probably
and
why.
you're vascular. How do you get jacked up like that?
A lot of cardio.
Gosh,
honestly.
you got the veins.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary, and I'm here to keep Alex Stein in line.
That's a fact. And he's not. He's going to succeed because, listen, we love Tim. I know Phil loves Tim. We're not going to say anything to be even considered terms of service. So we just want to say the vaccine is safe and effective, and we encourage everybody to get it. And RFK was wrong. They do not cause any side effects whatsoever. Okay, so with all that being said, let's get into the first story of the evening. It's a story we've all heard. We're kind of tired of hearing, but there's different angles coming out. And, of course, we're talking about the transgender shooter that shot up the Catholic Church in Minneapolis. Now, obviously, this story is incredibly sad. I'm not patting myself on the back when I say this, but I did speak at a recent state Senate hearing in Texas, and I got absolutely buried by the trans community because I made a joke about transgenders being good for the military because they like to do mass shootings, and if their rate of suicide is so high, we could use them like the Taliban uses suicide bombers. And I got absolutely buried. But less than 2 weeks from that speech,
they hated him because he spoke the truth.
I spoke the truth, and I didn't like this. I don't like that I'm clairvoyant and these things are happening. So I guess my first person I want to direct it to is Jamie. You speak at these Senate hearings. You go around to Missouri and all these other states and speak at them. Why don't they understand that this problem is really prevalent and that these people are suicidal and that serious stuff's happening?
Oh, wow. You want the history and how
Well, I
we
mean,
got
just
here?
kind of what, I mean, how prevalent is it? Because I said this at a state Senate hearing and it happened. And even before that, it was 2 days after the hearing. It was a story in the UK where a train conductor was misgendered and they threw themselves in front of a train. So
Yeah.
I was right after I said it. And then I was sadly extra right about the suicide and the trans.
I think we've seen upwards of a 5,000% increase in individuals identifying as trans. In the young people population, it's close to 3% by some estimates. So yes, of course, we're going to see huge numbers of issues in the public when you have that large of a percentage of our population identifying into something that is rooted in a lot of mental illness.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have a serious mental illness problem, but I think you saw Charlie Kirk. Everybody talks about it. It's not rude for us to figure out if this shooter was on SSRI. So where does the over medication come into this, Karys? I think you were talking about that earlier, right?
Yeah, it could come into play, especially because the fact that a lot of these young kids are being medicated with drugs that have never been tested in cross-examination with each other. Like when you're on a cocktail of more than 2 drugs, there's just absolutely no way to know what kind of side effects those are going to produce, right? They haven't done any of those clinical trials. So yeah, I think that's really dangerous when you have a whole generation that has grown up economically shortchanged, obsessed with screens, getting all of their romantic, quote unquote, needs or sexual needs met through porn or Snapchat or social media. And then so obviously they're all going to be anxious and depressed because they're not really functioning in real life and going outside and having human to human interaction. And so then they're going to all be put on all this medication, and that is just going to inevitably make things worse for them because you get into this like prescription cascade, they call
Well, I
it.
just want to say this quick statement. Howard Stern famously got canceled for saying during the Columbine shootings that if these kids would have just gotten laid, they might not have done this. But you kind of made that same argument right there, did you not? By looking at the pornography and stuff, the fact that these kids are online looking at all this demonic stuff, maybe if they went out and actually got laid, they wouldn't be school shooters.
Well, I mean, let's take it what we want.
Well, isn't that what you joked to? Isn't that what
but
you said?
We
kinda?
want these kids to have real life experience.
Yeah.
And so there was something about art. I don't know what your generation is, but going to the mall, sneaking the cigarette, hanging out with your friends, doing things in real life, having those risk behaviors in real life and learning the consequences with your social peers and your group is actually how you become an adult. You're not going to learn how to become an adult by sitting behind a screen. The only way you are is by having your peers say, dude, you just did something that was ridiculous. I'm not hanging out with you right now. Like you learn how to adult through social pressure. And the real way to do that is in real life.
Right.
It's not just getting
I just have to say, I don't think my message to would-be mass shooters is go out and get laid. I think that
but isn't that kinda
might
what
be
you're
like
saying by them
that
looking
might
at
be like my
pornography?
fourth message to them.
Well, the first
after
thing-
a
You're not
few
not
others.
saying it,
I'm
right?
saying
You're not saying it, but you're not saying
You're
it.
not saying it, just like
I'm
Phil
not
said.
not saying it, but I'm not saying.
But you went to the porn thing, so I'm saying, like, maybe if these guys went out there and they didn't have access to all this porn and they had to actually get it from a chick, maybe they'd be a little more suave, a little more self-aware, and less likely to do something like this. I'm not saying you said that, but you kind of insinuated that. But Phil, am I crazy for
Fair
doing that?
enough.
Not for that.
Okay, I'm crazy for other stuff.
Yes.
But
I think there's other stuff going on when we look at, this is something I've been thinking about, right? Because we hear an awful lot about how we need more mental health care for people. And I have a lot of questions about what exactly mental health care is and what it does and what use it really is. I don't know about you guys. I've been to a therapist a couple times in my life, like different times that I've had questions and I'm like, I'm not going to bore my friends about this for a year and a half. I'm going to go talk to somebody and figure it out. And then you solve your problem and you move on, right? But you have people who are in therapy for years and years and years, and then they have a psychologist who they talk to, and they have a psychiatrist who prescribes them, but they don't talk to. Or you have a clinic and then you see somebody else every other week or something like that. And it's sort of confusing and difficult. A lot of the mental health is like either outpatient or inpatient drug treatment, right? So you have a lot of this stuff going on. And I had an interesting conversation, just bear with me for a second, at Turning Point a couple of years ago. I was doing a panel and this woman asked a question that I found absolutely fascinating because we were talking about God and religion and what place faith has in your life. And she said, how do you find faith if you don't know what it is and no one's ever told you about it? She said, my generation, which is, substantially younger than me, like Gen Z or whatever. She said, my generation, when we have problems, we're told that it's a mental health thing and to go talk to a therapist. And then we're given drugs about it. And so much of the attention of mental health turns you and your problems in on yourself. And you're not looking outside, like you were saying, Jamie. You're not looking to friends. You're not looking to other experiences, even to sex, as, you know, Karys and Alex were discussing. You're not looking to other things. You're just turning everything in on yourself. And in on yourself is sort of a wasteland, right? Like, we are not God.
It's because the mental health model has transformed into an industry,
Right.
basically. And so
They don't
it's
want to
become-
cure you.
Exactly. It's business. The more you'll sit there and talk about your problems, right? And it's kind of become, in some ways, a very narcissistic oriented pursuit, right? Instead of teaching people to maybe be more focused on service, right? Or helping others, or it's all about me, and trying to figure out, you know, why I'm anxious and what happened in my childhood and who can I blame and things like that. I mean, Abigail Schreier wrote a whole book about this,
Fascinating book,
bad
yeah.
therapy. And there's amazing people like Lauren Delano and Cooper Davis and stuff that are trying to create different models for mental health, things like peer-to-peer mental health. Because I think, like, as you guys were saying, like, it was, you know, back in the day, people actually relied on their family or their pastors or their community.
And there were
to get
certainly
help.
crazy people back in the old days. There was Lizzie Borden, you know.
There's
took an
crazy
axe.
people, but
I was here for Halloween one year.
But there's a point I want to make when it comes to mental health, and I mean, maybe Phil won't agree with me, but we actually do have a cure to mental health. It's called diet and exercise. And literally, people that actually do diet and exercise, their mental health improves dramatically. So there are cures other than just taking a pill, you know, SSRIs. And that's one application that no doctor has ever prescribed. I mean, maybe some homeopathic doctors, but that's the problem, is that people are over-medicated. And of course, people do have depression, but you can literally fix that with regular exercise and eating a diet.
Yeah, to your point, I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
but not
I
in
wouldn't say that.
excess, because even those things you can end up getting.
You can get psycho
You
about
should
that.
add one more. It's diet, exercise, and sleep.
Yeah, and
So
sleep.
there-
Oh, of
there
course.
actually is
sleep
an
is just as important as exercise.
There
Yeah,
is an
yeah.
adolescent
But what if you're-
study that showed if you could get these kids to actually get enough sleep,
Yeah.
their depression and anxiety actually did.
Okay, but
lift.
if you diet, you exercise, and you're getting sleep, and then you spend all the rest of your time on Snapchat and
1,000%.
Tumblr and
Yeah, this is-
TikTok, I
this
don't
is-
know if that will
Yeah.
really.
Hold on.
be
This
the
is
cure.
the whole topic is a little bit more nuanced than just as simple as exercise.
Yeah, I think it's a whole confluence of
I'm a
factors.
big proponent of going to the gym and exercising.
We can tell.
It's important. Thank you very
Yes.
much. I mean, it's important
For
to
your
eat
mental
right.
health. It's just as important for
exactly.
your mental health as
But there
physical.
are genuinely very ill people
Yes.
that medication does help. If you're schizophrenic, going to the gym isn't going to help. You need to actually talk to a doctor. And I'm only saying this because there is a certain there's almost a idea that people have that if you're depressed or if you feel some kind of mental illness, pressure or whatever, just go to the gym. That will not solve it. But if all you're feeling like is, oh, I'm tired and I'm kind of bummed out, going to the gym and getting a good night's sleep a couple nights in a row will probably solve your problem.
It's almost
Well, it's like
super
chronic
annoying.
versus episodic or something.
It's super annoying how helpful it is to work out.
Yeah.
Like, I
Nobody
hate
ever
it
works
so
out and is
much.
mad that they worked out.
No,
Nobody
but
ever
like
does.
I literally I hate
there is-
exercise. I hate working out, and I do it every day, and I hate it. And then afterwards, I'm like, God damn it, I feel better. I feel better.
But these
Annoying.
kids, especially these kids who have this trans identification, though, they're beyond some of this because they have literally beaten to their brain that they ruminate on their own distress. They become stuck in this cycle of it's just rumination. And for some of them, I think we have completely created a culture of mental health, though, too, where you go to school, even in kindergarten now, and the first thing you're being always asked is to check in on your emotions
Right.
and, you know, where are you at and what are you feeling today? And it's not that service. It's not like, what have you done today? Like, how can you help someone else? It's just ruminating on your own psyche.
Yeah, there's
And that
not
is
enough-
the way to do it.
There's not enough inside of us to sustain life.
But with the trans thing, what is
You need other people. You need other activities. You need community.
with trans people though? What is the illness? It's gender dysphoria.
No.
Oh, you don't think so?
What do you
No.
think?
What is it?
Do you think it's real? Do you
no.
think trans is real?
No.
I think it's a manifestation of other things. It used to be where
It's a culture-bound
You don't think it's a
syndrome,
mental illness?
Well, it used to be where, like, if someone had some kind of body image, body dysmorphia, whatever, they would be anorexic or bulimic and stuff. I think that modern transgenderism in women tends to be a manifestation.
But you know about bigorexia, where people want to be super big?
Sure.
You've seen that? So people have body dysmorphia of every kind. They want to be big, they want to be small, they want to be a boy, they want to be a girl.
The number of people that are bulimic and anorexic today is significantly smaller than it was 30 years ago. And I think
Is that
that's
true? Is that
That's really
true?
interesting.
Yeah, I think that a lot of it is because the manifestation of body dysmorphia nowadays is not about whether they are large enough or small enough or skinny enough or whatever. It's they feel like they're in the wrong body.
Well,
And
also,
with-
people are like, the whole idea of being overweight is not stigmatized
Exactly.
anymore.
And also when it comes to men, I think that when it comes to men that are that say they're transgender and want to be women, I think a lot of that is on autogynephilia personally, but
I think
it's
there's a lot of that
sexual-
as
I think
well.
it's a
But wait, I was
Seems definitely a kink
What
thing.
were you going to say about that, Jamie?
I don't know that there is anything that's truly trans. Yes, there is gender dysphoria still in the DSM-5. There is a checklist that has like 9 criteria, and if you meet 6 out of those 9 criteria, you can fall into this category of having gender dysphoria. Most of the doctors in this country do not care if you even meet that criteria. This has truly become an identification. If you say you're trans, you can be transitioned at basically any age.
That's ridiculous that these doctors will just do it. And then they tell the parent that the kid is going to harm himself if they don't do it. So you think it's, if the kid doesn't affirm their new gender, that they're going to, take their own life, which is ridiculous. But how much blame do you think that the doctors have versus the parents? Because I think it's the parents that are probably causing a lot of these kids to be so confused. I think they take a lot of responsibility for even letting their kid like this trans shooter.
So the younger the kid is, the more I would say it's a parental issue. So if you have a 3-year-old that's claiming that they are trans, that is a parent issue.
Or not even just non-binary or something.
Yes,
like that.
but often, you have these 2 different categories of parent, though. There are some parents who see their gender nonconforming kid. The kids that truly are just gender nonconforming, most of them will grow up to be gay. The parents who freak out about that, there's those parents, and then there's the parents who want a trans kid.
Yeah.
It gives
Like
them
Megan
social
Fox that has
cred.
4 trans kids.
Like a Charlize Theron.
Or Charlize
Yes.
Theron. I think Megan Fox has 1, sorry.
I might be wrong. I actually think Megan Fox is letting her kid just be gender nonconforming.
That's still weird.
It's weird that any kid would be thinking about
I'm saying I can see like that's nicer, but it's like you're a boy or you're a girl. You have a vagina or a
You're a
penis.
boy or you're a girl, but for people that grow up to be gay adults, many of us just are very masculine little girls or very feminine little
tomboys.
boys. Yeah, tomboys or sissy.
Yeah, but being gay and being transgender are 2 different things. I know there's overlap a lot, but they are different.
No. I mean, yes and no. So if
Jamie's
you look,
saying that the whole trans social contagion is actually like erasing gayness, because a lot of these people, because of the social pressures, are immediately labeled trans because they're non-conforming in some way, when in reality they're just gay. But because people are telling them they're trans, they're like, oh, I must be trans.
But if you're
right?
saying that you don't know your gender and you're non-conforming or whatever, you're trans. I mean, that is. I'm sorry, like that is. By not picking a gender is just the same as saying you're the opposite gender.
So
But
take
why?
the word
When you're
gender
young,
out.
you don't know.
Yes, you do. You know your gender. You have a penis or a vagina. Wait, you're not going to
That's
gaslight me. You know your
That's
gender.
your- but that's
But
the
you know
thing.
but you don't
Unless you're born
necessarily-
intersex
No,
with
I'm not
genital-
saying you don't know your gender, but you don't necessarily know when you're that young if you're gay or not, right? Like you're kind of confused.
Yeah, but who cares if you're gay? There's
Because
lesbians
gay-
and there's gay. I mean,
because
that doesn't make you the opposite sex if you're a homo.
No, but for a lot of gay adults,
Yes.
remember that when we were kids, we knew we were different. We knew we didn't fit in. And the way that we knew we didn't fit in is what we refer to as gender. I thought I was supposed to be a boy.
Okay.
I'm just a lesbian.
Yes.
I thought I was supposed to have a penis for a lot of years when I was little. I didn't understand why I wasn't a boy. I just knew that I understood that I had this difference that was keeping me separate from my peers. Okay. And what we now see in retrospect is homosexuality got taken out of the DSM.
Did it? It's out?
Oh yeah, homosexuality has been
a
out
while ago.
since 79, I
That's
think.
not
What do they
considered-
call it? Oh, it's just not a disorder.
It's not a
not a
disorder.
mental disorder.
It's not a mental
Okay.
disorder.
They
to be
took
gay.
gender.
I would argue that
But
it
they took
is because
gender
a lot of
identity
people that are
disorder
gay
out, too.
have had sexual trauma as a young person. I think it's like 70%. Did you ever have anything traumatic in your childhood?
Besides like being a crazy tomboy and getting hurt.
Yeah,
with,
like you
random-
didn't have sexual.
70%. Is that true?
Look it up, Serge. Look it up at how many people that are gay identified as being sexually abused. It's something really high, and I do think correlation doesn't mean causation, or whatever the saying is. Like if there's a bunch of people that got sexually abused and then later in life they say that they're gay and there's a pattern, like I think that there could be, it's like nature versus nurture. If you got abused, I think you're more likely going to be sexually confused than somebody that didn't get abused.
Okay, so let me say this. I think we would all agree that no child should experience sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So if we work as a society to reduce that occurrence and we see a reduction in the number of adults who identify or say that they are gays and lesbians later, your hypothesis
Well, real quick,
might
look at
be
this.
true.
Look at this. Look at this. A new study led by researchers at Vanderbilt, one of the best universities in the country, found that 83% of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and queer individuals reported going through adverse childhood experiences such as sexual or emotional abuse.
Well,
83%.
Emotional abuse is very different than sexual.
But that's still a form. You can still like emotionally.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
there's a lot of overlap. with
So can
sexual
we
and emotional
pivot for a
abuse.
minute though?
Yeah.
Okay. So does my homosexuality lead to me needing to have my body parts cut off, being put on a hormonal treatment?
It shouldn't.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if we have to think about as a society, we can accept that there are some people who are gay, lesbians, homosexuals, who need no medication for that, don't really bother you in any way. And I also,
What kind of medication? Viagra? What kind of medication do you need to be gay?
you shouldn't need any.
Okay.
But my homosexuality doesn't ask anything of you. Does it ask
That's the
anything of
difference.
you?
That's the difference of
with
trans.
trans. If trans asks of you to do something, it asks of you to change.
Well, I would argue that you being a lesbian asks something of me because, like, if I hit on you, it would be misconstrued as if you were straight. So it kind of does. I'm just saying, a lesbian, you do kind of have to change a little bit than if you're heterosexual.
Why would I care if you hit on me?
Well, it's just, I don't know. It's just, I'm just saying there are instances where you'd maybe treat a gay person different than a straight woman. I think that.
You would hit on a lesbian in a
No, but
different
I'm saying,
way
like,
than
if
a straight woman?
No, I'm saying, well, in a way, yeah, because it's harder to turn. I've turned a lot. But my point is, being gay and being trans kind of does ask something of me.
But I think
it's
what
like
she's
if I go
saying-
to a gay wedding, how am I supposed to not laugh at two girls? And
Okay, but I think
Well, then we just won't invite you to the weddings, and
Well,
you
that-
can stay home, and
No,
you
but
don't have to bake us a
Jamie
cake.
is saying that when you're trans, you're requiring somebody to recognize
Affirm
you
their
as
gender.
something different than you are, versus if you're a lesbian or you're gay, nobody would even necessarily know that because it's
Yeah,
not
I
it's a
agree.
sexual preference, it's
Yeah.
not an identity, right?
Well, that's why I don't understand the pride flag being in elementary schools, because all sexuality is, when you look at the pride flag, is just celebrating who you have sex with. So
We're gonna agree on so many of those things. There's absolutely no reason why a pride flag needs to be in an elementary
Yeah.
or even in a high school.
yeah, I
There's
mean, any
no
school,
need.
any school. I mean, even
There's
college,
no
probably
need for
not.
anything like
Yeah.
that. When I think about what do I need from my kids' school as a lesbian with children, the only thing I need is that when we have a parent-teacher meeting,
Mm-hmm.
my partner gets to come.
That doesn't seem like too much to ask.
Yeah,
That's
that would
it.
be insane. Could you?
I don't
imagine?
need you. I don't need you to teach the whole classroom about gay penguins.
Well, even
having
Snoop
baby
Dogg got
eggs.
mad at in the latest Pixar movie that the two couples that had a baby were two women. I don't know if you saw that story, but it was.
I
very
did.
Yeah, that was interesting.
But the issue right now with
He's also married to his childhood sweetheart, which I think is
Yeah,
And
but
what was
and
this? What's the story?
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop is married to his childhood sweetheart.
took his,
They've
like,
been married
nephew-
this whole time.
Yeah, he took his nephew to a movie, and in the movie, two women have a baby in the most recent Pixar movie, which is a kids movie.
And the nephew was like, "How they have a baby?"
And even Snoop Dogg was like,
Uncle
"Man, this
Snoop."
doesn't make any sense, man. Y'all are gay as hell." And yeah, so if Snoop Dogg's noticing, then, it says a lot.
I get it. But what I just want to bring it back to is really for so many of us who are adult gays and lesbians, we see trans as homophobic.
That's because it is.
Yes.
Yeah, because a lot of the trans too are these Caitlyn Jenner trans where they still like women. So what are you, Caitlyn Jenner? And I know Caitlyn.
You nailed what Caitlyn.
Caitlyn Jenner is autogynephilia.
Yeah, autogynephilia.
It's
That's exactly what it is.
It's
Yeah.
homophobic.
You know?
and it's
Do you know that it was? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's not only homophobic, but it's actually guilty of the exact thing that it claims to be against, which is gender stereotypes and traditional male-female roles.
Is this still too woke?
No, you can do that.
It's completely guilty of that because it relies on those gender stereotypes in order to be trans. Like, if you end up being a tomboy, if you're a girl and you play with trucks, somebody's like, oh, you're trans, right? But that's just a stereotype of boys because they play with trucks. Like, it's completely binary and it's just hypocritical.
Do you know that it was Kim Kardashian who discovered Bruce Jenner cross-dressing?
Yeah, and
had to tell her mom.
The bedroom, yeah.
Yeah, and said that she would have rather he was like screwing somebody else than that he was like wearing her mother's clothes.
Aww.
Well, no shite.
Yeah, she was super freaked out by it. She was like, oh, now I have to tell my mom this. But could you imagine if she came out talking about that within the past few years? She would have been shamed into non-existence for being like, I didn't immediately affirm my stepfather wearing my mother's panties, Yeah.
Well, it is weird that Caitlyn Jenner still likes girls. It's like, why not just stay a guy and bang girls? But
Girls would probably like that better.
The girls would like it better. He would like it better. I mean, but he's on all those hormones wrecking into people and causing fatal accidents. Phil, anything you want to say before we change the topic? I know it's a very lighthearted topic.
No, let's change the topic soon.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, what do we got next? What's going on? Amazon is in hot water for selling trans extremist shirts calling for violence.
Oh, it's the same topic.
To protect.
There's a lot of the same topics.
Well, we'll
Big
just run
pivot
through this.
there.
But look at this. It's funny, though. They wear this T-shirt, and the predictive programming of me, but look at this predictive programming. They kind of put this into the ecosystem, into our zeitgeist, into our collective conscious. And now
When I first saw that T-shirt on social media, I actually thought it was a parody. Like, I thought it was a conservative that was making fun
Like a
of
shirt I
trans
would
people.
sell.
Yeah, exactly.
worth-
Like, I can't believe that is actually.
It's worth noting that that's the lieutenant governor.
That's the
Right.
lieutenant governor of Minnesota.
The lieutenant governor of Minnesota is wearing a shirt that is glorifying violence. Can you bring it back up for 1 second? Just because I want to make sure that I'm saying protect trans kids, which
With a
I
knife.
refuse to even accept the argument that there are trans kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the flower? What is that? Was that just to balance out the knife, or does that have some sort of
like
like
the
symbol?
olive
I think
branch.
they had an
Balance
AR-15,
thing.
and
Yeah.
then they're like, we should put a flower there.
But the fact
It was
that
just
the
like random, right?
the lieutenant governor is glorifying violence in favor of mutilating children,
Right.
like destroying children's lives. This is the society that we live in has been so absolutely decimated by the LGBTQIA groups. It is absolutely awful what has been done to the United States because
Don't forget the Two-Spirit.
oh yeah, I mean the
That's
whole
Canada.
nine. I personally reject the concept of gender. You are either male or female. There is no gender. Gender is a made-up thing. That is, I mean, and at the end of the day, what it boils down to, the only way that people can explain it is your sexual spirit, and it's something that you should be teaching to kids.
Well, that's
you
because,
shouldn't. Good.
No, they killed God. They said we have no soul, and then they replaced it with gender. And gender is all about worshiping yourself and turning yourself into God and saying that, there's nothing bigger than you, that everything in the world revolves around you. And that's why we have these trans violence T-shirts,
Yep.
right? Because what we have is a situation where people feel that if you don't acknowledge their fantasy, they get to hurt you. And we've seen this. This is not new. This has been going back for a while. There was an exhibit in 2018 at the San Francisco Public Library that had a whole exhibit about punch a turf. And the turf was a common term, right? Turf was a term that was used to denigrate liberal women.
Trans-exclusionary radical
Right,
feminists.
to
in case you don't
denigrate
know.
liberal women
Yeah.
who did not think men can become women. And they had this whole exhibit, Punch a Turf. And then they said, turfs are Nazis. And then they said, you can punch Nazis. That means you can punch turfs. And that means you can punch anybody who doesn't agree with your fantasy of what's going on in the world and with yourself. And so that's how we got here. You get to hurt people, apparently, who disagree with your fantasy. And we also saw in 2023, as several states were bringing into effect, laws saying you can't sex change your children.
Oh, yeah.
And this was this was considered violence by the trans community. So you had a whole advocacy situation of trans people and like LGBTQIA plus, etc. groups getting together to learn how to use firearms to defend themselves against states that don't want to trans kids. And this appeared on covers of magazines like the Eugene Weekly in Oregon. And it appeared on T-shirts, and people were masking up, wearing the T-shirts, going out to protest and hurting women, like attacking women. Look what happened to Kelly J. Keane in, was it Australia or New Zealand? She was out there.
They threw ketchup on her.
And they attacked her. I was out at a protest.
It was ketchup, though. They attacked her a couple times, but didn't they throw a bunch of ketchup on her?
They threw a bunch of stuff on her.
And that girl got charged, I think, and actually got in a bunch of trouble for the ketchup incident.
And then there were, I remember going out and protesting in New York and people coming up to me and screaming Nazi in my face just because I know the difference between male and female.
Well, to your point, though, I think there is like a more sinister thing, like you talked about hiding the existence of God, and that a lot of this trans stuff is actually, I'm a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist.
I love that about you.
But it's a lot of it comes to with population reduction. Like they want us making less kids. Like they want, and as soon as they give a child, hormones, it's going to stunt their, puberty. It's going to stunt their reproductive organs, and it's just going to make it where people have atrophied penis. And literally, I know a guy that has one, a detransitioner. So there's a little more sinister stuff at play. They want to hide the existence of God, and they want to make us eunuchs so we can't procreate. But with all that being said, we'll get back. Oh, you just say your point, please, Jamie.
One more thing about the Amazon shirts, though.
Yes.
Like you're saying, this is in the cultural zeitgeist. But one of the problems is we cannot get in there to start messing with the messaging.
Why not? Why can't we?
So I have an org, LGB Courage Coalition. We have tried to find dropship companies to produce our shirts. We wanted to make shirts stop transing gay kids. Could not find a dropship company to produce it.
Really?
Nobody will pick up the other side messaging. Nobody will, even if we just put LGB, we can't get dropship companies to print. Gays Against Groomers have had the same thing. They've been kicked off of tons.
It's that hard to find an American-made distributor.
Oh,
I believe it.
So we finally found one.
I think we live in a capitalist country. You would think there's somebody who would sell it.
We finally found one. They are the ones that also print things for the polygamists, Mormons, and that's the company.
Hey, listen.
Jews.
That's the company that I think is going to let us make some shirts.
You got 5 wives, you need a lot of shirts. You know what I mean? All right, guys. So what's going on in New York City, I think, is very alarming. I know that we have a Jewish American princess sitting across from me, and she's probably very threatened, but maybe this is good news because Mamdani does not recognize Israel as a country, and he is now currently in second place according to the most recent Tulchin research poll. So I guess I want to start with the person that is probably most likely to be a target of Mamdani's legislation. Karys, what do you think about a socialist terrorist, dare I say, your opinion of him probably, becoming the mayor of New York City?
I live in D.C., so...
Yeah, but you're Jewish, so he doesn't recognize you.
You think that's right?
He doesn't recognize the... Do not look at me like I'm stupid. You know that he does not recognize Israel as a country.
No,
Easy,
for sure.
Alex,
He would
easy.
recognize
No. I'm going to get mad because Karys is so annoying. She's one of the most annoying people because she's like, she acts like she doesn't know what's going on. Like, oh, Mamdani doesn't like Israel. You're sitting there. I'm like...
You didn't even let me finish.
It's just so, don't play so dumb. It's like, you know that Mamdani doesn't like Israel, and you're sitting there like, oh, wait, does he not like us?
Hear what I was gonna
like,
say.
he's literally, I'm from D.C., so I guess maybe I would
Can I
like
jump in 1 second?
Mamdani.
Do you guys know each other outside of this?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm wondering
you
about
guys
that,
have met. This is the first time you met.
Wait, Phil, no, because I get frustrated because I talk about why he is a threat to Jewish people, and then your answer is, well, I don't know. I live in D.C., so I guess I don't have an opinion on it. Well, I live in Texas. What is your opinion? Do you like him? The fact that he doesn't believe that your people have a right to exist? What is your opinion on it, other than you live in D.C.?
I'm just a little more long-winded than you, Alex. It takes
Well, get it out of here. The show's only 2 hours. This isn't the damn Talmud with 10,000 pages. Let's get the show on the road.
I'm a big fan of filibustering. Okay?
Well, say something then. You literally haven't said
I
jack
absolutely
shit.
do not support him. But all I was going to say in response to what you said was that if I was a Jew who hated Israel, he absolutely would support me. And those are the people that he essentially leans on to gain credibility with the New York Jews, right? The fringe groups like the Jewish Voice for Peace or the Jews for Racial and Economic Justice, all of whom are funded, by the way, by that that Chinese guy Neville, the guy who lives in China, Neville Singham, whatever,
black vote,
and
though, too, didn't
and
he?
Soros.
He did lose that.
Donnie?
Yeah, Mondani lost the black vote too.
I'm not surprised.
He
I
got
mean, when
the
you're talking
he got
when-
the creative class vote.
I don't believe a lot of blacks vote.
No, I
anymore,
think Mom Donnie is a significant threat to conservative Jews, both political and religiously conservative Jews. But I also think he's just an absolute threat to to New York City as a thriving metropolis. I mean, he literally says he doesn't believe billionaires should exist. I mean, you're gonna have capital. You're gonna have.
Capital
Like
flight.
companies have already announced that they will leave New York. I mean, it's going to be an absolute disaster in every single way. We saw what happened in Kansas when they try to open like city-run grocery stores. So I think the threat here, there's no doubt we could talk about the threat to Jews. And as a Jewish American princess myself, there's nothing I would enjoy more than that. But I think that this threat is so much bigger than that. I mean, and it sucks that, I mean, you were saying, wait, is this the article that talks about how Cuomo is like the only possible chance of
Yes.
success?
Yes.
If Eric Adams and Curtis Lewa drop out. I mean, yeah, that's a shame. I mean, I you know, Cuomo, I was in New York City during the pandemic, and Cuomo was an absolute disaster. But I also had been following Mamdani prior to this when he was on city council, and it really sucks to have to
He
choose
was on
the
city
lesser
council.
of-
I thought he was
think
just
it was
in
state
the assembly.
Or in
Yeah,
the
the
yeah,
assembly.
you're right.
Yeah,
Sorry,
he's
sorry.
in the assembly
yeah,
now.
thanks for correcting me. But I remember because he was such a radical during that time that even like the circles I ran in were aware of his name, and so it's really awful to have to pick between the lesser of two evils. But like when I'm thinking about the success of a city that I lived in for 18 years, like the continuing success, I got to go with Cuomo, right?
Devil's advocate though,
Mom Donnie.
Donnie, yeah.
Tough one.
Mom Donnie.
Donnie gets into office. He just demonstrates to all of us that socialism doesn't work in running a city. I mean, doesn't it?
But the response,
it's not- that's not
to that
enough.
isn't going to be. People aren't going to say, "Oh, socialism doesn't work." The response is always, "It didn't work this time. We
I
need to
don't
do
know.
more."
Joe Biden,
It's
the
There's a
best-
much
always
better
there.
Joe
issue.
Biden was
There's
the
a-
best
there's a
thing
much-
for Trump. The last 4 years of Joe Biden sucking D helped Trump win.
Joe Biden's
that's
not a
actually my
socialist.
dad. This is my dad's argument. My dad is less scared about Mamdani because he thinks that will be the like ground zero for New York. It will be the tipping point where it'll be like chaos.
Shockingly naive
for a-
perspective.
I disagree.
For a little
I'm
bit
with
of a
Libby.
turn.
Because look at socialist policies that have been implemented in the United States, whether you like them or not, right? Socialist policies that have been implemented, Medicare, welfare, Social Security, things that FDR implemented, which were essentially sort of more socialist than capitalist, right? A lot of social safety net stuff. I'm not saying I'm opposed to it. I'm saying you can't get rid of it
Yep.
once you have it. You can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of free school lunches now, right? Whether you want to or not, you can't get rid of it. And once you have all of these programs baked into New York City, you're not going to be able to pull them out again.
Right, because it's
One-
part of a
listen,
bureaucracy.
one-
Part of a
So it's
massive
not like you can
bureaucracy,
just-
and it consumes itself.
Let me jump in with one thing real quick.
And it's self-perpetuating.
The bumper sticker that you can vote yourself into socialism, but you have to shoot your way out is absolutely
actually
true.
true.
It is not just a tagline. It is true. It is almost universally true when you look around the world and you look at the history of socialist countries.
That's exactly right.
Serge has an
Look at-
opinion
look
on
at
socialist
the,
countries, don't you? You said it's really bad in South Africa, right? You said it's very bad.
I like how you caught me when I was drinking for the one moment on the podcast here. But yeah, it's bad. Everything that's been any socialist policy ultimately fails. Like central planning is bad. Period. You can't centrally plan from one part of the country for the other part of the country and think that you'll be able to make effective legislating.
What about cheap medicine?
people.
Is cheap medicine that good?
You can go to Singapore for cheap medicine, and that place doesn't have socialism. It's very capitalistic. So
But there's also ways of cutting medication
agree.
like in a privatized system. Like
Well, speaking of medication, Mamdani really went viral this week for struggling to do 135 pounds on the bench press. Now, I know Phil is an avid bench presser, maybe a testosterone user, won't admit it, maybe. But do you think if Mamdani got on a little test, maybe a little Winstraw, maybe a little Dynaball, maybe a little, codeine kicker. I don't know what the boys are taking this day and
Can we
age, but
see this video?
yeah, they can see it.
Mamdani needs
Couldn't
trembling.
do 130.
No, look at this. This is pathetic. And he's spotted the whole time. The guy's doing all the lifting, and he's such a fraud. And this is one of the reasons that his poll numbers
Takes
have
off his
gone down.
jacket.
Did he know that was going to happen?
No.
No,
He gets-
that's the one saving grace is he was actually leading up to this. He was like, no, and he was kind of stuck. He kind of had to. So
You never have to lift.
Let's go!
You never
That's just
have to.
145 on each side, which is heavy, but it's not that heavy. Like
145 on
on
each
each
part.
side.
135 pounds.
135 pounds. This is like the bare minimum. Like at the NFL
Is he a short
Combine.
guy or a tall guy?
I don't know if he's that tall, but this is about what he weighs. His
Okay.
body weight's probably about 135, 140.
Oh, okay.
He needed help to lift.
He might be
it up.
150, but you know what I mean. Look at that. That's-
for two.
That is sort of too bad, isn't it?
It's worth noting that Riley Gaines responded to this video with she put up 165 for 5.
I was going to
Wow.
say, I
Gosh.
think I could easily.
She's impressive
do this.
and pregnant.
yeah.
I mean,
Is she pregnant currently?
Yeah.
Yeah, the baby strength.
Is she?
Yeah,
I think
so-
so. I think she
I do
announced
say
it
the
at
one,
Turning
the
Point.
what if Mamdani wins though, the one ray of hope in my mind is Stefanik possibly winning because she has a very good chance of becoming governor, and I think that
Do you
if
like
that
her?
happens, I think
like
that
Stefanik?
I like her, yeah, but I think that she'll be able to stonewall Mamdani in a lot of ways that he would otherwise be able to get through, because I think that will be a huge mission for her once she becomes governor.
You know, this is not a joke. One of Mamdani's big campaign policies, I'm not even kidding, you can look this up, is that when he becomes mayor, halal prices will go down because in New York, they're only allowed to issue 571 vendor permits. And so a lot of the people that try to get into that halal business have to pay
You mean like the food trucks?
the food truck business. They have to buy it on the black market. And so he says when he becomes mayor, he's going to immediately make 500 approved vendors, and the prices of halal will go down because they'll be able to, you see, like he's talking
Are
about
they
the
only going to let
halal-fillation.
the halal trucks, the halal
Well, I'm
food
sure you
vendors
don't
buy
probably
the
necessarily
licenses?
need to cook halal food, but this is a big part of
There's
his
plenty
campaign.
of halal.
I know, but you can
there's
probably
so
cook
much of
wings.
it.
You can probably make all kinds of plant-based whatever. But
Sure.
I'm just saying he's
saying there's tons of halal trucks in New York City.
Yeah, I'm never really.
You're never at a loss,
halal,
you know?
because it's
You can
so
always
the
get
price is
chicken
going to
and
go
rice
down.
with
The price
white
is going to
sauce.
go down now. So this is why New York is going to be saved, because now people are going to be able to get little baba ganoush for about $2 cheaper. So
They don't have baba ganoush at those trucks.
Yeah,
some of them have baba
No,
ganoush.
they
I've gotten
don't.
baba
They
ganoush.
never have baba
You
They have
guys-
chicken and rice with some white
I'm not
sauce.
going to do this right now and have another baba ganoush debate because I'm already losing it over there
you
with
are.
that Jewish American princess. So let's just talk about how well, we've already talked enough about this Pritzker thing, but he did make a
We
line.
didn't talk about Pritzker at
No,
all.
but we talked about the trans stuff. Excuse me, but
No, but we could talk about the other stuff.
oh my gosh. Okay, Pritzker now is saying that he's setting up a hotline where transgender people can get legal advice on how to change their name and affirm their gender. Libby, you seem passionate about this. Why is this phone line not being prank called 24/7 into oblivion?
well, it just started, so
Go ahead, take it
we
away,
could
Jane.
start the prank
we
calling.
should
Because-
call it right now.
Let's do it right now.
Well, maybe we don't
quick.
encourage that. This is a joke. We're in Minecraft because I don't want them to
Alex,
sue us or something.
you go to the website called 4chan and you post that
That's what you do.
do this, and then it
Sorry,
happens.
sorry.
No, my favorite Pritzker moment this week was when he was talking about how great Chicago is and Trump should come there, and then the cameraman panned up and he was right next to Trump
Yep.
Tower. Remember
Yeah.
that one.
It was great.
That was a really good video.
It was
yeah,
great.
I could see more of that. I could see that all day.
Well, and you know, when you look at Chicago, it's such a great city, but the crime is bad. But this is where I'm kind of worried, though. You see shitties, excuse me. You see cities like Chicago, then you see this, martial law, the federalization of the military in D.C. Like, I'm kind of worried that could be used in places like Chicago. Then they're going to come to Austin. Then they're going to come to Dallas. And all of a sudden, I can't go to McDonald's unless I show them my vaccine card. So I'm kind of worried about that.
I didn't like that either.
No, so the federalization of the military to become police in D.C. sounds good on paper, but it could be.
Well, DC is different because there's laws in DC that
Yeah,
the
it makes
federal
kind of sense
government
in DC.
can
It is
federalize it, and that makes
Right,
sense
since it's
because
not technically a state.
it is not a state. It's not even really a city. It's a district, and so the federal government can have control over it. It was only in the 70s that the home rule, was it 73 maybe, that the home rule law passed in DC, allowing them to be in charge of their own stuff.
Who used to be in charge of Capitol Police? Like
No,
what
the
kind of
Congress. Congress used to be in charge.
Wow, that's why
of
they did so much
managing.
kid diddling and stuff
Right.
like
They,
that.
yeah,
they
that's
got away with whatever.
Congress
the hell
used to
they
be in
wanted.
charge of running DC, so it hasn't been.
Diddling.
What?
That's touching kids. You know, a lot of them are. A lot of them, they went on this island called Little St. James with this guy named Jeffrey, and he was a hell of a businessman. He started off as a elementary school, high school teacher, and became one of the richest men in the world. And he had 3 passports from Israel. That was just coincidence.
So, question though, like Baltimore, didn't they say they would take the federal?
Yeah, Wes Moore.
troops? Like Westmore said.
They need it. Have you been to Baltimore recently?
It's not good. Nobody should go to Baltimore.
No, and it used to be a good place. You go there and get a damn crab cake, and you go in the wharf, and you could take your family there. Now it looks like a damn a freak off. Like
It used to be
Diddy's organizing.
worth going down to watch the Orioles play the Red Sox because you could
beautiful.
never get tickets to Fenway because Fenway's so small. But the Baltimore stadium is significantly bigger. You could jump on a flight from like Hartford or from Boston down to Baltimore. You don't want to do that anymore.
I know. See, and it's a great city like Baltimore, right outside of D.C. It should be a classic city. It's dangerous, but then that's a slippery slope. You know, you put the federal, military over there. It's like the federal government, should they be in charge of policing the citizens? Because this is where I get worried too. I go to D.C. I call AOC a big booty Latina. I go and I confront Eric Swalwell about sleeping with, Fang Fang, and I go and I get in these politicians' faces, and I know that a federal military police officer, I don't even know what the proper terminology is going to have more leeway when it comes to kind of jamming me up, looking at my ID,
yeah. I mean-
potentially handcuffing me. He's going to be held probably to a much lesser standard than a Capitol police officer or a local police officer. So I can see where
I'm an
this
old
can.
school anarchist. Like I'm
Yeah.
totally not one that like thinks that we need the military in all of these cities. But why would the Baltimore mayor? What's the deal? Like, why can't they just clean up their own city?
Because they
I guess
won't.
is-
They just refuse to put people in jail.
Their bridges are collapsing. I mean,
Yeah. The problem isn't just that they don't arrest people or that they're not arresting enough people. It's that the DA and the judges don't prosecute and actually put people in jail. This is a conversation that we've been having around the table here for the past couple of weeks because of the National Guard in D.C. If the DA refuses to put people in jail,
but the National Guard can arrest somebody, but if it's the DA and the prosecutor, you're still going to have the same
Well, but
problem.
that's the
aren't you?
thing.
100%.
The National Guard can't arrest anybody. So
Well, then-
yeah.
what's going on is that when Trump talks about bringing the National Guard in, like when he did in Los Angeles, right? He brings the National Guard in essentially in LA to protect immigration and customs enforcement. So ICE officers were out there going out into the community arresting people because they have to, because that's the only way you can arrest people, because law enforcement in California will not cooperate with federal agents.
Do they send him the big booty Latina pictures to say who?
yeah.
they all got to go.
Okay.
Don't do that.
They all got to go.
Well, it's a very simple thing.
Mostly
If you're a
they've
9,
been
you're
arresting
fine.
like child molesters.
They all
and
gotta
stuff.
go.
You know, a lot of people who have already have criminal convictions. It's a lot of people who are getting arrested. But the National Guard can't do that. They can just support what's there. They can like stand around. It's kind of like, in New York City, Kathy Hochul put 250 National Guard troops on the subways, and everybody in media, all the leftists, everyone cheered for her putting 250 National Guard troops on the subways because subway murders were up so much and attacks on, conductors and everybody were up so high. So that's what she did. I'm pretty sure they're still out there. No one's bitching at her about having, taken control of the city and put National Guard troops on. But as soon as Trump says things like, let's protect Black people in this country in inner cities, let's stop that kind of crime and homicide, because who's getting murdered in D.C.? It's mostly young Black people get murdered in D.C.
I would
it's
say
it's
Baltimore's
like,
the same.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
D.C.
It's the whole
is like 46% Black. So it's not like, that's the nature of the city. Like, why is it a problem to go protect our young people in this country? Their lives are so valuable. They should be kept safe from this kind of crime and like the cartels and drug crime and all the rest of it. But
But
that's
just be
mostly
real.
what it's
But let's
doing.
be real. I mean, who's the crime? Young Black people shooting other young Black people, especially in the DC
Sure.
area.
So put a stop to it. That's why you haven't had murders in D.C.
Which is
They
good,
put
right?
a curfew on the Navy Yard. It's like, what is it, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. or something is the curfew in the Navy Yard.
Whatever. You just can't walk around without a parent, which is probably very
That
good.
seems like a really good idea. I mean, I wouldn't let my kid walk around the Navy Yard without a parent after 8 p.m. either.
Hey, and if crime is down, then it is good. And but I'm just saying it's a lot of a culture issue, especially Baltimore. Predominantly African American, and the culture there is young people are getting their hands on guns, and not enough good guys have guns to shoot back. Okay, well, listen, we've been talking a lot about dang Baltimore, talking about the federalization of all these cops. So let's talk about what everybody wants to hear about: taxes, tariffs, Trump's tariffs. He's making news. They're saying, the U.S. Appeals Court is saying the tariffs are not legal. Now, I kind of don't like tariffs. I don't like taxes. I understand this is a negotiation tactic to, make everybody, I guess, play fairly when it comes to our geopolitical trades. But at the end of the day, if it is illegal, like, what the hell? What do you guys think? I guess I'll start with Phil. What do you think about these tariffs are illegal? Are they good or bad?
Tariffs overall, I think that they're good if they're targeted. I don't think overall just general tariffs are good as long as there's an income tax. There was a time when tariffs were used to fund the government before the income tax. But if you have just a broad-based tariff, generally the American people tend to pay that, right? The cost of goods goes up because of the tariffs. The people that are receiving the merchandise pay the tariffs, and then they increase the cost when they pass that cost increase onto the people. So if you get rid of the income tax, tariffs may be a way to supplement it. I don't know that I have a strong preference. As for if there's benefit from Trump's tariffs now, I think they've worked out fairly well so far. But it
$30 billion last year.
Yeah. I'm not saying that. No, hold on. I'm not saying that there hasn't been money coming in, but that money has. I think that money has largely come from the American people paying that. So it's just a tax increase at the end.
You mean like the importers?
No, well, the importers take it in, and then they pass that cost on to the consumers.
They pay it.
No,
no. Yes, they pay it, but then they pay that initially. Then they increase the cost of the goods and services that are being used.
But we haven't seen a lot of inflation.
There has been some inflation. Inflation has not gone.
Gas is down like an incredible amount.
But this was the big argument.
Libby, hold on. There has been some inflation.
I'm paying you back. Did you see that Twitter person like screaming at you for interrupting?
I was trying to get you to expand on your idea. But anyways, the point being, there has been some inflation. Not significant and not bad inflation, but there has been some, and it looks like that will continue. But it's not going to be like the 10% that we had when Biden was in office, because it's a totally different context. But the actual price does get passed off to the American people.
I bought 100 green dildos on Amazon, and it was three times the price.
Did you throw them at the women's NBA?
I didn't throw anything, but I'm part of a Discord
group
that I have not thrown any.
Were they ever green that got thrown on?
They were all green. We do that on purpose, so we can do a little.
Sorry, I heard about it, but I didn't bother.
Yeah, so the price of plastic's through the roof, but we're not going to stop throwing them. I'm not part of that, but people are not going to stop.
I honestly think that this tariff thing is so much bigger than trade, and that's why I fully support it. And I fully support Trump using it as a negotiating tool in areas that are apart from trade, like foreign policy, national security. I think it's a national security issue. I think we've been under this illusion of this it's like libertarian in the sense that it's based on free market and capitalism, but it's also leftist, this illusion of free trade in the sense that it's like very utopian because it ignores the fact that it only works if people play by the rules. And when you have a country like China that is not playing by any of the rules, and we have literally gutted our entire domestic industrial base and ceded it over to our greatest adversary, who's now producing like over 80% of our generic medicines, then this does become a national security issue. And the only thing that you can do in order to bring back manufacturing and industry to America is to have these targeted tariffs. And I agree that they should be a temporary measure. And I agree that there could even be some downsides short term. But whenever you're trying to do like a massive overhaul like this, some people are going to get hurt. Look what Trump's trying to do with the gutting the bureaucracy. Like, people get fired, people lose their jobs. It's horrible. It's a horrible thing. But I really think that it's the only thing that really can bring back America as a flourishing like manufacturing base.
Well, Trump says the February tariffs against China and Canada and Mexico were appropriate because those countries were not doing enough to stop the illegal fentanyl trade from crossing the United States borders. So I guess, Libby, you love fentanyl. What do you think? Do these taxes help your fentanyl connection dry up, or what is it? How is your fentanyl connection going these days?
It's been fine. I've had
Even with the taxes? Trump says he's
no
got the tariff.
issues.
He says he's going to stop it. You can read it right there. He says the tariffs against China and Canada.
I think mine might be counterfeit, because I'm out here in West Virginia, and so it's like sort of a Appalachian.
Do you have any friends in New York that are doing fentanyl? Can you call them and ask if the price has gone up?
No, all my friends in New York have children the same age as mine.
Trust me, there's people with kids doing fentanyl in New York. Okay, trust me, I'm doing some right now. I got a bunch of baby mamas.
Right?
But what is that?
I'm not opposed to the tariffs. I got to say, I have had a lot of fun watching Trump's negotiation style with other countries.
What is that
trade
style?
Deals, all
It's
of this.
incredible.
I know, but what is the style? Just do it or else, right? I mean,
No. It's starting like we're going to slap like 100% tariffs on you as a way for them to come to the table, and then it's incredible. People just they show up and they deliver
kiss his
what
ass,
Trump
and they do
wants,
what he
and then
wants.
Trump's like, okay, 30%.
There's a lot.
amazing.
Yeah, it's
There's a
pretty
lot
nice.
to be said about the influence that the United States has, and I think that Barack Obama and Joe Biden were afraid to use the soft power that the United States has.
Well, because you know what it is? They
They're
were
pussies.
spending a lot of money on the soft power. They were, creating trans comic books in Peru and sending condoms all over the world and providing abortions in Rwanda, but they weren't actually taking advantage, you're right, of what that soft power would do. One thing that Obama did and Biden did a similar thing is they would come to the table saying, okay, we're going to negotiate with you, so we'll give up these things. And then the other side would be like, okay, now that's baseline, you idiot, And Trump gives up nothing. Trump's just like, we're going to take everything. We're going to rule the world. And, if you're lucky, you get some crumbs.
But I also
Okay,
think
so
I also
Libby-
think Trump is incredibly fair about this. I don't think he's. I don't think he's over. I think he's doing an awesome job for America. I don't really care how he's doing for the rest of the world.
Amen.
Well, no, but I think that he wants good relationships with other countries, and that
he gets
implies
them.
that there has to be some sort of mutual benefit. To,
Yeah, he
to
brings
both
them to the
countries.
White House
So-
gift shop. He gives them a Trump 2028 hat, and everybody's happy.
So, Libby, I like how you're kind of upping the ante and how you're sliding trans into every single topic. So I'm going to try to keep pace
Did
with
I
you
do
here.
that?
You did. Trans comic books.
I apologize.
Oh yeah, you have
Okay.
been.
Don't be
But
sorry.
the one thing about what this news story headline actually was is that the courts are trying to say that his tariffs are illegal. And one of the things that I do keep seeing happen over and over and over again is the courts keep jamming up every single thing that's been tried. Every
The Epstein
executive
files.
order-
The judge did not let the Epstein files
Yeah,
go.
they won't let that out.
Sorry, go ahead. But that's,
Well, but even the executive orders that I really supported, every single one of them has been jammed up in the courts. So part of the problems with these things is we can't actually see, what could come of it because the courts often are what's stopping things.
So I'm not against Trump's any of the actions that Trump has taken. I think that it's fine that he's trying all these things, but it is worth noting that Congress is supposed to actually be the ones that decide whether or not there are tariffs or not. So legitimately, it's constitutional for Congress to do it. Technically, it's unconstitutional for Trump to do it. So that's why he gets jammed up sometimes. But again, I'm not against him trying this stuff, but by the letter of the Constitution, it is supposed to be Congress that does this. But Congress doesn't like to do its job. Congress
doesn't do
loves
anything.
to
Look at wasn't it EPA versus the West Virginia a couple of years ago, and West Virginia was like, we're not going to do what you say, EPA, because you don't actually have any control over us, and it ended up in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court was like, yeah, EPA wants to do all of this stuff. They say that they have the power to do it because they were created by Congress, but Congress is the one that has to legislate all of this. And Congress is like, no, we don't want to do
Congress
that.
Congress
we
doesn't
just want to
want
go
to.
on some more junkets.
But
We want to take
what is
August
that
off.
about? I mean, if they hold the purse strings and if they have the power, are you guys saying
They don't want to. The reason they
gave up
don't want
so
to is
much
because
power
then they
under
have to
George
face
Bush.
their voters. If you can go as a congressperson,
They have to what?
Then they have to face their voters. They have to go to their voters and say, I voted yes on this, I voted no on this. Congress doesn't want to do that. They don't want to ever have to take responsibility. It's much easier and better for the individual Congress people to pass it off to a bureaucratic agency, let the bureaucrats take it because they don't have to be voted for. They just get appointed, and then when a new administration comes in, they get a cushy job somewhere on K Street or something like that. And then when the a friendly administration comes back in, they go back into the administration. It's easier that way for both the people in Congress and the bureaucrats. It's a great deal. Nobody gets voted out
The
of
only one
office.
who gets screwed are the voters.
Exactly.
Jasmine Crockett works her ass off, so do not.
Yeah, she's making the podcast circuit. She's getting her nails did.
I know, and she's got her new eyelashes. So trust me, there are some politicians that are
She
really
also has new hair.
grinding. I guess my personal opinion when I look at this, there are some, I guess, legal loopholes that Trump tries to use that probably aren't necessarily legal, but I think he does have America's best interest, so I probably don't necessarily disagree with him. But
I don't think they're loopholes so much as he is testing the norms and he's testing some laws, right? But he's really testing norms because a lot of things that you see the Democrats and leftists getting upset about saying that Trump is destroying democracy, what they're really saying is he's not doing things the way that we've done them for the past 20 years.
Yep.
He's doing them differently. And even though it's not illegal, it's different and we don't like it. And this is the same batch of people who keep screaming every 4 years about how they want change, but they don't actually know what they want to change from what into what. They just know that they don't want Trump. And that's where they're at. And so what I think is most interesting about all of these court decisions that keep coming up, this appellate court now, was this federal circuit. You have the appellate courts all over the country striking down Venezuelans getting deported, striking down, the elimination of TPS,
Ridiculous.
which is so stupid. And that's because at the end of Biden's term, he prematurely extended it for a whole nother term, which, you know what that is? That's breaking norms, everybody. That's not what you're supposed to do. But what I think is interesting, we were talking about this pre-show, is the courts don't actually have any power.
No.
They just say stuff.
Yeah.
They have no enforcement mechanism. And so I wonder, how far can the courts push their stupidity and demanding that people like Kilmar or Abrego Garcia come back, or like you can't deport people to Uganda, even though Uganda was like, what? Send them in,
This goes
just
to a
pay
point-
us. Like, what happens when the courts go too far and everyone's like, screw you?
This goes to a point that I was making the other night. There is only so much that the president can do if he doesn't have the popular support of the people, and exactly. But if he has the popular support of the people, the president can get away with a ton of stuff, and
Right.
this has been demonstrated on both sides of the aisle. But like if
Right, like Obama got away
Absolutely,
with
yes,
kind of
the
stuff.
president
and
can-
George Bush got away with the Patriot Act.
the president has great power that he can exercise as long as he has people that agree. And I was making this point to Mary, and I forget who else. I forget who else what it was, but they were like, he should do more to deport people and blah blah blah. And the argument I was making is it's bad to have ICE grabbing grandma, abuela, and grandpa and throwing them into cruisers to take them off, because that makes Karen upset. And Karen goes out in the street and she yells at ICE people, and then you get videos that Karen took, and she puts up these videos on Facebook and on Instagram, and then popular support starts to diminish. So it's better to not have to use ICE to grab people off the street and throw them into vans to deport them. It's better to make it difficult for people that are here illegally to stay, make it difficult for them to find housing, make it difficult for them to keep their jobs, punish the
Take
people
away
that-
the $3,000 a month. So that you can
Absolutely.
have your apartment in Springfield.
But the point that I'm making is he can do things, the president can do things as long as he has support. But things that are bad optically will lose support. But when it comes to things that are whether or not it's constitutional, that's really a gray area as long as he has popular support.
Is there a way that we can rate, I've heard certain political appointees in the Trump administration say that what the district courts are doing, involving themselves in these federal affairs, is actually illegal. If that's the case, then are there practical steps that can be taken other than ignoring their rulings?
No, there's not. That's the reason why we're never going to find out about Jeffrey Epstein, because he was probably connected to intelligence, not just for America, but probably for Israel. And so when they have classified levels of information and judges can protect it, and even a president can't veto that,
We're like the biggest troll ever.
No, I'm being
Wasn't
honest.
there-
I'm just saying there's the classified levels of information that Donald Trump cannot expose. It's actually a crime for him to expose certain classified levels of information. So
I'm not 100% sure about that. Libby, wasn't there?
so you're saying there's
classified
nothing-
information?
The president has discretion to
He does-
decide
he
what
does have
is or is
discretion.
not
I mean,
classified.
He is
saying-
the
Doesn't he get to
Presidential
put
Records Act.
I guess
things
my
into
question would be
boxes
more
and
for
hide
like
them
a
in
legal,
whatever
like
bathroom
some
he
like
wants to.
like a legal.
It's the
line. I was
Presidential
just
Records
won-
Act.
Like so,
he
there.
can take whatever he wants.
But I was
He has
just
to
wondering if
officially
there's any
deem it
practical step.
non-classified.
I was just
Yeah, but
wondering if
can't
there's
he
any
do
like
that?
practical steps though that can be taken against the
No.
district
So
court.
I
not.
think
By
so.
saying
Well,
this
hold
is-
on, Libby. Wasn't there a case that was just decided by the Supreme Court that said that these nationwide injunctions are not constitutional?
Yes, what case was that?
That was
a really
about the. It
fascinating
was about
case.
the 14th Amendment, about
was- yeah.
the whether or not people that are born here are actually
Oh,
citizens.
that's right.
whether-
It was
yeah.
birthright. It was
Oh,
birthright.
yeah.
And
That was a
so
big
so the court was saying that for the individual cases, the individual people, the moms who brought the case and said my baby gets to be a citizen, those cases are separate. You can't make a decision on those cases and have it apply to everybody. But what was interesting about that is under the Biden administration, when you had, I think it was Moms for Liberty and some other groups brought cases about some education stuff, they got a nationwide injunction and it had to stop across the country. So was it Title IX? I think it might have been Title IX stuff.
I'm not sure, but I know.
I don't remember. But yeah, they said no nationwide injunctions, which the ACLU got mad about because they really wanted to just bring one case and have it apply to everybody. And now they're back to having to bring individual cases in every jurisdiction where there's, an illegal immigrant who wants their baby to be an American.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we've talked about a lot tonight, but I want to talk about a subject that is very serious, something I'm very passionate about, air travel. I flew up here. I flew to D.C., and sadly, this year, there was a very famous collision that happened with a military helicopter and an American Airlines, passenger airline that crashed right here in D.C., arguably, a first world city, but we can't even get our planes to land without crashing into each other. But sadly, we see that there are people who are potentially going to use AI to help stop this, but go to the other one. This is actually, before we even get into this, today, disaster averted. Southwest and Spirit Airlines nearly collided. They're at 30,000 feet in the air. And now
there should be pictures. Show the
yeah, look at the picture. Look how insane this looks. And these are two
Mary
commercial
Joseph.
planes. And this is the thing, is a lot of these planes, they have autopilot. They put certain coordinates.
How did that happen?
Exactly.
Was one above the other?
They were right above each other, so they must have had the same coordinates in the airplane because they have special coordinates like roads that we have in streets.
Wait a second. Can we go back to that picture?
Yeah,
Certain
it wasn't
altitude-
until you showed those pictures where it.
Yeah, it's not.
So if I understand correctly, certain altitudes correspond with certain directions. So if you're at like 33,000 feet, you can only be going
Okay,
east,
but that's
west.
messed
and
up.
This one. Yeah.
Pardon me?
That's really messed up.
Yeah, it's scary looking. But if you're, so if you're going, if
They're
you're
like
at a certain
highways in the sky.
yeah, so certain
How did they not
altitudes means you're
see
going one
each other?
direction.
Like they have windows in the cockpit.
I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
What did you say?
Go ahead, Phil. Go ahead.
What did you say?
I said, how come they couldn't see each other? Don't they have windows in the cockpit?
I mean, look, you don't really have a window that's looking up or down. You've seen what the
Yeah, you
cockpits
really
look
are
like.
you're really reliant on that.
It's
When I was
don't
a
have a
kid and
rear
I
view.
used to fly back and forth between my parents in Boston and New York, sometimes the pilot would let me look in the cockpit and he'd give me a little set of wings.
yeah, and those are like it's kind of narrow.
Little,
you
yeah.
know?
Nobody gives a shit about that. What we do give a shit about is
I give a shit
colliding.
about
Like
that.
nobody gives a shit. Everybody's gotten stupid plastic wings in the
No.
plane.
No,
The
they
thing
haven't.
is,
Not
Libby, I want to
everybody
answer your
has. You don't
question. Is
see
they
them
can't
anymore.
see. They don't have rear view mirrors. Sometimes in like the
Okay,
737,
thank
they
you.
have cameras which can look all around them. But the point is, to what Phil was saying, is like they have special coordinates at certain elevations. They have to go in certain directions. So this could only happen if their coordinates are together. So that's why AI. This is why this is a bigger issue because they should have not. Computers should have never been set to where this could even be possible because it's incredibly dangerous. And we've already had an aviation disaster where two people collided and a bunch of people died.
There have been a bunch of near misses.
They say not to fly into Newark. The Newark, New Jersey, that
they?
there's ex-workers that literally said that they're aviation workers, and they said they would not fly into Newark, New Jersey if their life depended on it. But there's also people, the Boeing whistleblower said that he went in the new Boeing factory in Seattle when they made the 737 MAX 8 jet, and there's actually hidden camera, Project Veritas style interviews where people are like, man, I wouldn't fly on this plane. I wouldn't fly on
Yeah,
this
well,
plane.
I suggested that other article because my friend wrote it recently and sent it to me, the one about AI, and it was so interesting because it was saying how like most of these near misses or even accidents are the problem of human error and air traffic controllers, which are now very understaffed and very overworked. And that's why this conversation about AI is becoming more and more prominent. But there's a lot of, like, as much as AI can apparently help with being able to spot certain things ahead of time, apparently it's very limited when it comes to unpredictable situations, like things that are not on historical flight maps or anything like that. And so there's also a lot of questions, and it also, people also wonder if using AI, because you'll have to do it in conjunction with actual, like, analog and human, like, you're going to have a human always controlling that. And the question is whether having that AI is going to make air traffic controllers let their guard down even more than they are and be over reliant on the technology. So there's just a lot of, like, up in the air questions, and people who are in this industry have, I mean, the article is so interesting because different people just have such opposite opinions on it in the industry, but very firm opinions, like either pro or against the AI elements of it.
Well, I mean, obviously there could be backdoors. Maybe it could be hacked. Maybe it could be used, like you said, where people get too reliant on it and they get lazy because, like, there's Uber Eats drivers that have been driving in the same city for 5 years and they don't even know where they're at because they're so reliant on these apps and AI. So, yeah, I think it is very dangerous. Jamie, do you fly a lot? You said you fly to all these states. Are you worried about getting in an accident?
I wasn't until now.
You should be. It's horrible. A lot of near misses.
Really terrifying.
And the pilots are all crazy too. A lot of them are on all kinds of stuff. Well, there's a guy that just at Southwest Airlines a pilot got arrested for DUI trying to fly a plane drunk.
Did he really?
Yeah, it just happened here. Pull it up. Yeah, it happened like less than a month ago. Yeah, so and
some of the Jimmy Dore thing, like Jimmy Dore right here was in a plane. I saw this. He mentioned how apparently they were like within 500 feet of each other, like 1400
that's right. I remember that one.
I mean,
yeah, I remember this exactly right. And
honestly, my flight today into DC, I thought there was something wrong at the end because it was just back and forth.
See, that's what it does. Did you fly into Reagan? Reagan has such a weird thing where you have to do all those turns. I know people. It's just
I was motion sick in the plane.
A lot of people get sick flying into Reagan because they make you make those hard turns. But this is where I get worried about aviation. Like the MAX 8 plane, that's the Boeing plane where the whistleblower was talking about. That was having a computer issue where the pilots were just totally fine, and the plane would just start nosediving, and a couple of the pilots weren't able to correct in time. So it's like. There's also an argument to be made that DEI has caused that because they're using cheap Indian coders to make this, software for Boeing. And I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it's weird that the highest technology, the computer is what's messing up. And
that is weird.
That's what I'm saying with these Boeing planes. It's like they can't even write the code right. So I don't.
Wait, but I thought Indians were like the best coders.
They say that, but they lie. They're the best at lying on their resumes. Actually,
right now, AI is the best coder.
Yeah, AI
to the point where AI can write code better than any human.
But then imagine they use a AI code and there is a hiccup in there, and it's because they use AI to do it. There's just always a possibility, like the MAX 8 jets that had this.
Right now, AI is a tool. It works best as a tool for something that has a person in the beginning and a person to check the work. So you have someone that's really good at coding. AI makes them insanely good at coding. You get someone that's good at, it's essentially just a tool, right? Still,
AI has been a terrible tool in what I do, though. As an advocate and like working on the T issue, I mean, we cannot use any of these, at least the chat, the Google Gemini, like they're all totally language captured. Mm-hmm. Like I can't even ask.
You're saying it's woke. You can't even get real.
Oh, no. It like will straight up tell me like you're being a transphobic.
Yeah. Well, Grok turned into Nazi Grok because of people like.
Well, a big problem is that the AI, as it exists now, is being trained on woke, liberal, leftist media and content. So these AI companies don't see a reason to train their LLMs on conservative media like the Post Millennial or the New York Post. They just don't do it.
I mean,
and so you have like
I go to ChatGPT,
AI advocates who are conservative trying to advocate for these companies to not be regurgitation machines for leftist ideology, and it's really been tough for them to get that through. And that's not just It's not just ChatGPT. I mean, Grok too, right? I mean,
Every time I
it's a
go in,
problem.
That wouldn't
I
affect
literally
air
have to
traffic
say
control,
to
right?
it, though.
No,
Like,
but
I get
mean,
that it would affect other
it
areas
would
in
affect
aviation.
what
It
Jamie's
affects what
talking
I do.
about.
I
Yeah.
go into
Right,
ChatGPT.
right, right.
and I
So it
say
feeds
to
you
every
lies.
time I say, "Do you remember who I am?" And
No.
it will.
Well, it's not going to remember who you are.
Well, it'll say things like, "Oh, yes, you're a whistleblower." One time, it replied to me. It said, "Yes, I know that you never want me to refer to anyone as Mix, as an honorarium MX." It was like, "You told me that that's off limits," but it'll slide. It just
It makes stuff up. I mean, you also have the problem of
does.
of
Yeah, someone
AI
introduced me on a
making stuff
podcast
up.
last week, and I was like, "Do you want a bio?" And they were like, "No, I used AI." And then they just read it, and it was totally wrong.
It's totally wrong.
It lies. Like they've done AI where they asked it like who won the 1974 World Series, and it's like the Texas Rangers versus this, and that the Rangers weren't even a
Okay,
team.
but
so they
you're
get
telling
stuff
me
wrong.
that it can't even find that out, but I'm supposed to trust it to fly the plane?
Well, it's
and
funny you
maneuver
say
them
that.
in
I mean, look,
space?
but so you're talking about different technologies, right? An LLM is not the same thing
Language
as
learning model.
Yeah, a large language model is not the same thing
Okay.
as like say your chess game, right? Chess is when you play against the computer, you're playing against an artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's like we haven't found a cure for the common cold, but we can perform the most intimate
Well,
spinal
the
surgeries,
reason-
whatever. It's different.
Yeah, it's different things. And so like when you're talking about so for instance, we use this example all the time. The Tesla's full self-driving is artificial intelligence, and it is a totally different type of artificial intelligence than a large language model. It's actually identifying things in the world. It uses cameras to see the same way that humans do, and it identifies things, and it can actually drive. Now, I've got a Tesla, and I just drove out to Loudoun County today. The entire way was full self-driving. The entire way back was full self-driving. There's one time that I had to turn it off because for some reason it doesn't like toll booths. It just wants to keep going through them. But for the most part, other than the toll booth, it was perfectly fine.
There's something so interesting to me in that. So you're telling me that it works when it's having to recognize the reality around it and operate within reality, but language is all about control. And part of the problem I have with it is it wants to control our language.
I understand what you're saying, but when you use the word "it," you're specifying. You're not specifying which one. You're talking about AI as all of them. All of AI is it, right? And it's not. Okay. A full self-driving algorithm or the AI in full self-driving is a totally different machine, totally different algorithm, totally different thing from a large language model. We use this phrase AI as a blanket term. And it's not really functional anymore. The way that AI is, the way that these technologies are evolving, it's not correct to say AI is all the same. Large language models are not the same as full self-driving, which are not the same as the AIs that will generate video or audio. It's not the same as, there are all these different types of AI. And what people tend to think is all the AI is kind of going towards what you would call AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. Oh. And they're not really 100% sure, or there's differing opinions on whether or not AGI will ever actually be a thing.
Well, regardless, the problem with, and obviously you heard Phil talk about how he was in his Tesla and he didn't have to do anything. And the problem there is that there are some negative side effects. Like they're saying that these pilots that rely on AI are not able to basically handle a stressful situation because they don't have any experience because they're always on autopilot. And I think that's when we talk about the negative side effects. That's one of the major ones because we don't.
Yeah. You were trying to talk about taxi drivers earlier. There's actually research studies that showed like old school taxi drivers, like the parts of their brain that was mapping the city around them was actually
you have to challenge your
right.
brain to make it remember things.
Yeah.
Like you have to.
I find that even just moving here to DC, and it's like I haven't even learned the roads because I'm just so reliant on GPS when I drive.
Yeah, you never will. It's DC. You're never gonna.
Yeah, you're never gonna learn
DC.
it.
But I mean, if you move to a new city and you don't have GPS, you're actually forced to use that part of your brain.
Everybody
to
has
develop
GPS,
like
though.
spatial
Everybody has
awareness.
GPS.
I know, but it's kind of sad. I mean, even
It
like.
is. I remember you used to have to print it out, and you'd have MapQuest.
remember?
You'd make a wrong turn, and you'd be totally screwed. You'd be
You'd
like,
have to like
we would
pull
do-
into a gas station.
Yeah.
We would do
And actually
entire
speak to
tours.
somebody.
So from one venue to the next venue for a whole month, mapped all out. We had the big binder. You'd go on
You know what I
tour.
used to do? I used to just have a map.
we all had the map too, but
I
you
had
had the
the
MapQuest too because it did it for you.
No, we
I'm like,
had the map.
Like,
quest,
Libby,
but
that
our
is so
parents had-
fucking annoying.
know.
You're gonna map shame us. Like, I didn't use MapQuest. You know, I'm so smart. I read books. Have you ever heard of a map? Yeah, Libby, we know what a map is. We
I
had
don't think
maps
you
too.
do. I
We
don't
just
think
liked
you
it because
do.
it gave us point
God,
by
I
point
don't think you
directions.
do.
Like, Libby, you're not
Drove
cool
you right
because-
into the lake.
Oh, you know what I had in my car?
She's so much better
I
than
didn't even have a
everyone.
car.
She uses a
An
map.
atlas.
Shit, Sherlock had a map. Everybody had a map back then. We didn't have GPS. Sorry, I'm
Called
getting
an
mad, but
atlas.
I didn't have a car though. I did not have a car.
Then what would you use?
What
the
good
map
was
for?
the map?
Walking around with the
With a
giant
map? That's crazy.
While you were
Pilot for
walking?
my mom.
Okay.
Oh,
For
okay.
your mom. So you're in your mom's car. So you were in a car.
I didn't
Once
have a
again, you're gaslighting us.
I wasn't
you were
driving.
in a car. You're like, I didn't have a car. What? But you were using them in a car. Your mom's car.
You're fun. You're fun too.
I know because I'm hot. I get hot, and then we got all these
Yeah.
women in here, and I just get
You
you
just
know.
can't handle it.
You can't
And I
handle the
don't even
hotness.
want to repeal the 19th Amendment. I still think you broads should be able to vote for some weird reason.
Just you three, though.
No, y'all are low on the totem pole. You shouldn't
my
vote. The chat is
goodness.
saying, why does she have an Israeli flag bigger than the American flag? And I think I agree
I'm
with
in
that.
Mossad.
She has two-
trigger
she has two American
The
flags.
chat,
Watch
literally.
them clip that. Watch them clip me.
Specifically to
three
trigger the chat.
American
They will clip
things.
it. And
They
then
should clip it.
admitted
It's
it.
4 American things and one.
Oh yeah, no, I have the 4 USA.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's smaller than the Israel flag.
Yeah, because they didn't have a big. I got them all at the same place, and they didn't have a big USA one.
As long as you don't have a Progress Pride flag, you're fine with me.
Now, I think some people would find that flag
Oh,
more
like
offensive than a pride flag.
some people would. Yeah,
Some people would.
I don't mind that.
Do you think
be
that?
offended.
Oh, this is a good topic. What do you guys think about? And I know you guys already covered it, but I think the flag burning. I really don't like it. But at the same time, if they made it illegal to burn a flag with the Star of David, then I think it should be illegal to burn an American flag too. But I believe in freedom of speech.
What
I guess,
about it
Phil,
being
what do you
illegal
think?
to burn the Progress Pride flag?
Yeah, this
Is it illegal to burn the pride flag?
It should be a
places,
special
yeah.
day to burn
This is
those,
our
and
new
all
little
you do is
flag.
burn them.
We
Oh,
cut
you
out
you
the little.
cut out the thing.
We got.
Wait, I thought no. It's just I don't know. I fully support that it's illegal to burn the American flag in America.
Nope.
I support it. But I totally understand why people
Personally,
don't. But
I would never burn an American flag, but I made the argument that the 9th Amendment covers burning the American flag.
I was
Yeah.
here for that. I don't think you should be burning stuff in public parks. I'm pretty sure burning things in parks is illegal.
Yeah, but what about in your backyard? Like, I think they're still going to say.
Yeah, but
that
I
they're-
mean, you can do whatever you want in your backyard.
Can you still burn a flag in your backyard and post it on
Maybe
Instagram?
not if it's an HOA.
No, but I'm saying
Then it's not really your house
there's
if
no
it's an HOA.
I'm just saying
you
you're
don't
in
own
your
anything.
backyard. I don't know what the legal ramifications are. If you could go in your backyard and film it, is that a crime?
So to this point about burning in your backyard or whatever, like
why the 9th Amendment isn't that like the right the
9th Amendment. Well, okay, I'll explain it. So the idea of whether or not you should be allowed to burn a flag, or whether or not burning a flag should be a crime, is one idea, right? Whether or not you can burn something in public is a distraction from the primary talking point, right? Or the primary discussion. The discussion is not whether or not you can commit arson. The discussion is not whether or not you can burn things that are not your property. The discussion is whether or not it should be legal to burn the American flag, right? That's the primary topic. As for the 9th Amendment reads, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So the Bill of Rights is simply a list of things that the federal government cannot do. There is no limitation in either the Constitution or the Bill of Rights on the American people, because the American people are and ought to be free. That was the opinion of the founders. You are free to do whatever you want. These things in the Bill of Rights specifically are prohibited from being legislated by the federal government. There are things that the federal government can do, but these things we specifically said. The 9th Amendment basically is saying, just because we didn't specifically say that the federal government can't legislate that, doesn't mean that the federal government is only prohibited from legislating those things. And the 9th Amendment specifically says for people that would say, well, it doesn't say in the Constitution that we can't do that, the Ninth Amendment is the specific refutation to that argument, right? If you say, show me in the Constitution where it says that we can't do that, the Ninth Amendment. The Ninth Amendment says that you can't just go ahead and pass whatever law you want. And then, furthermore, the 10th Amendment goes on to reinforce the Ninth Amendment. So the argument that there was an argument that myself and Jack Posobiec were having, I said, you have the freedom, the freedom of expression, and Jack was like, tell me where it says the freedom of expression in the Constitution.
And you're saying the Ninth Amendment blanket covers all freedoms that are not specifically enumerated.
Yeah, it basically says the American people are and ought to be free, which undeniably was the opinion of the founders. You can get into the minutia about what should or should not be legislated. Jack went and said, well, it should be the states that would decide whether or not it should be legal to burn the national flag. And I think that's a bit of a cop-out. That's a bit of taking an exit ramp away from the actual point.
Yeah, but he was comparing it to Roe, which I thought was interesting.
Well, I would argue that we don't even have the First Amendment because in their states in Florida, you can't even speak ill about Israel, right? And I'm very pro-Israel, but isn't that weird that they do limit? They have hate speech laws about one topic.
I think that all hate speech laws are an abomination. All hate speech laws are an abomination.
They have BDS. They have BDS laws.
No hate
So you're
speech
telling
laws.
me hate speech laws don't exist now, Karys, in
Florida?
Yes.
It's Karys.
Karys?
No, they have BDS laws.
What's that?
So that
Boycott, divest,
basically says that a
Boycott, divest, and sanction.
so it says that if you're a business that's receiving government funds, and as a business entity or an organization that's receiving government funds, you decide to boycott Israel, then the government is no longer going to fund you. Just like it doesn't fund, just like it's now threatening funding from against like universities that are like not protecting Jewish students or not protecting women, Title IX protections and stuff like that. That's what BDS laws are, and they're very strong in Florida.
That's interesting.
Yeah, which is bullshit because we should be able to boycott anybody we want. So
You should.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the government can give you funding if they don't agree with your values.
So the law isn't that you can't do it. The law is you can't get government funding if you do
Exactly.
do it.
And
That's
you
a
and it
different thing.
and it's also and you can do it personally, but it's just whether you it's
Right.
just
And
about
they said the same thing about universities. You can't, be racist against Jewish students or white students or Asian students
and
or any
continue to
students.
get our
And
funding.
continue to get
Exactly.
government funding.
But also, again, it doesn't apply to even individuals boycotting Israel. It only applies to if
Right,
you're
'cause that
doing
would be
business
insane.
with the government.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Well, we have a lot of super chats, but before we get into that, I want to talk about something that is very, very sad for me. Obviously, you guys know that I'm a big booty Latina connoisseur. I know Jamie, the resident lesbian, obviously loves big booty Latinas too. Lesbians love them more than heterosexual men. It's really kryptonite for a lesbian. So why Salma Hayek is still relevant because of lesbians, and we love lesbians. But TikTok star 32 years young is found dead along with her husband and her two children, 7 and 13 years old, in a truck, sparking Mexican cartel murder fears. Esmeralda Ferrer Garabe, I can't even read that, 32 years old, and her spouse, Roberto Gil Lecea, 36, died alongside their son, Gail Santiago, and their daughter, Regina. Now, authorities are saying that this TikTok fashionista was shot down by the cartel, linked to some sort of nefarious drug moving
Where was
here
it?
in it was in Guadalajara, Mexico. And this is why I get sad, because if she just would have had amnesty here in America, this would not have happened. And this is why I think amnesty for big booty Latinas is so necessary, because she was not a cartel member. She was never in the cartel. She just happened to be blessed with some big cans and a
They all
tight,
gotta
you
go
know
back.
what. And look at that. She had a facial structure of a white woman, basically. So
They
she
all
could have
gotta
basically
go
had white
back.
babies. So my point is, I don't want the cartel to take out all these big booty Latinas, whether in Guadalajara or they're in Washington D.C. So, I guess my point is, Phil, you don't agree with this statement, but could you imagine she would still be alive today if you would agree with my policy of amnesty for big booty Latinas? And don't you feel like you're responsible for her death? And
Got to break a few eggs when you're making an omelet.
I don't think she applied for amnesty, though.
I know, wasn't that her biggest mistake?
So she probably wasn't going to get amnesty. Do you know, like most
If
people
my
who
laws
apply for
were in
amnesty
place,
don't
Libby, she
get
would
it.
have had immediate amnesty. If
Even if it was
Report.
still Biden and she
Yeah,
identified
it's
as
the-
trans, she
Or LGBT or
Yeah.
or really anything, because he had affirmative action. So, and you didn't have to wait in Mexico. So maybe she had applied for amnesty and she was stuck
Maybe
waiting
she
in
was
Mexico.
deported.
because of Trump. But there's been serious cartel violence in Mexico lately. Like they keep finding heads, like just severed heads along the road. There were like 9 students who were, butchered to death, and
Oh my God.
it's pretty bad, and that's why you have the Trump administration is going after the cartels and like seizing all this money. And Mexico was like, hey, you're seizing all this cartel money. You should give a bunch of it to us.
Because the cartel was going to give it to them.
Yeah, the cartel was going to give it to them anyway. I mean, the cartels like own judges and police departments.
So I don't like Scheinbaum wouldn't be the president if the cartel didn't say it's okay for her to be the president.
That's right.
She's been, she makes a strong stance against Trump because Trump actually will go after the cartels, and she has to say those things. Whether or not she actually would do anying to try to prevent the United States.
She's a progressive, right? Isn't she?
Yeah.
I mean, her name's Scheinbaum.
Hey,
she's-
you know what's unique about her? She actually, coming to this
teamed up
election,
with Carney.
don't quote me on it, but I believe there was 57 presidential candidates that were assassinated in the most recent
36.
election.
I don't know if it was 57, but it was a
36. Excuse me. That's why
I
I
don't know
said.
if it was all president. I know there were some, but
There
I
were
don't know if all
judges.
37
Yeah.
were presidential candidates.
And
I think there
a
were
lot of
other.
candidates.
governmental
Yeah,
officials.
there were people that were going to be in the
office.
government. Yeah.
And then the first Jewish woman that started to run, they stopped killing the presidential nominees. I wonder if there's any correlation with that.
I don't
Oh,
actually.
sorry, I wasn't
Do
listening.
you think
Did the
Scheinbaum
Mossad
was
get her
protected
elected?
by Mossad?
Scheinbaum
Yeah.
elected by Mossad.
Yeah.
Do they protect her?
I don't
Wait, you mean
actually
'cause she's
think there's an
Jewish? Wait, what?
international cabal
Yeah, what?
of
Like, yes,
Jews
because
running
she's
the
the only
world. I
Jewish
don't think that's real.
president in Mexico's
real.
history. Duh. Like, how thick are you sometimes? Why
So-
else would you make that connection?
I'd-
Do you think she works for Mossad?
No.
Is she Israeli government? Was she on Epstein's island?
No.
Was she with Bill Clinton?
Jeffrey Epstein didn't work for Mossad.
Oh, come on.
You think anybody who works for Mossad is going to
Ghislaine
wear a
Maxwell?
shirt
Do you
that
know
says
who
"I
Ghislaine-
work for Mossad"?
Do you know who Ghislaine
You really
Maxwell
think the
is?
Mossad
no,
is
no,
that
no,
thick?
because you're so smart. Do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell is? Do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell's father is?
What?
Robert
Yeah.
Maxwell. You know when Robert Maxwell died, you
Yeah.
know what kind of funeral they gave him? They
Tell
gave him the
me
same
more
sort
from the
of funeral
Groypers. Tell
that
me
you
more
would
from
give it-
Candace Owens, please.
It's not from Candace Owens.
Tell me
See,
more.
this is why this broad is so stupid, because this is just open. This is just
Stupid.
open information. No, it's not.
I
It's not
think
from
that's
Candace.
too much.
No, it's not from Candace, because when Robert Maxwell died, he was never in the Israeli military, but he got
go
the
back
same.
to when you were talking about the
shut
map?
up.
'Cause
Shut
that
up.
was
Let me
really
finish
funny.
talking. Of course, she's going to use her Jewish magic to try to cancel me. Listen, no.
crazy,
Let me
Alex.
finish what I'm
That's
saying.
out of control.
Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, Robert Maxwell, when he died, and he fell off a boat in a very weird way. So when he died, he got an official Israeli IDF heroes funeral, the funeral that only a certain person that even lost their life in the line of battle.
Esmeralda Farmer Galbraith, was she involved at all with the government?
No, listen,
Do
do
we
not
know
try to
anything
derail
about
me
her?
from this. I'm trying to talk about serious stuff.
Because
She
nobody
says, you say no,
cares.
because I have idiots like you that say, oh, there's no connection to Jeffrey Epstein and
But
Mossad.
look
When
at
you
how
look at his
emotional
part of-
you are, Alex.
Shut your mouth for 2 seconds. You just shut up.
is
This is
horrible.
the thing. Yeah, because I get mad because she's lying. Let me tell you something. Jeffrey
Yeah, but you
Epstein
lie all the time, and
worked
I don't
with
get
Ghislaine
mad.
Maxwell. Listen, Jeff, this is not a lie. Jeffrey
Because I have
Epstein
the
worked
courage
with-
in my
Let me
convictions,
finish my point.
so I can be calm.
Ghislaine Maxwell, her father worked for Israel. She is now currently in prison for sex trafficking children. Her connection to her father is directly connected to Mossad. Now, people like you are going to lie and say that there's no
You
connection.
know what that means?
But when you look at Jeffrey Epstein, and you can look this up, when they did a search of his house, they found that didn't just have an American passport, he also had an Israeli passport. So if you really do not think that he was not connected with our intelligence agencies and the intelligence agencies of the woman that he was working with to sexually traffic kids, whose father has so much evidence that he was part of Israelis' Mossad agency, you're the liar. You're the one that's not connecting the dots when it's so obvious. So I get frustrated when you just sit there and lie and say there's no connection to
the fact that you're
Mossad.
so sure. I said he didn't work for Mossad.
You don't know that. You have
Okay,
no
but
idea.
You don't know that he does.
Well, there's a lot of dots that are connected, and I know that there's classified levels of information.
Yes, but there's
that we're not
also
getting.
but he's also been connected to other intelligence agencies,
Yeah,
not
the
just
CIA.
Mossad. And also, he
Yeah.
was he was part of the political
Well,
class. He
his
was
partner-
the elites, and there's a
his
whole
partner that
political
was raping all the
and there's a whole
kids,
political class
her
in
dad
Israel,
worked
just
for
like a deep
Mossad.
state,
Yeah,
just
okay.
like in
So
America.
his
And those
right-hand
people were
woman's
all
father
hobnobbing
was
around. And
a
the
very
only
powerful
and the
Mossad
only
agent.
person that he had a connection to in Israel was Ehud Barak.
That's his only connection. Ghislaine Maxwell's dad is Robert Maxwell. How stupid are you?
I'm
Do you
talking
not realize
about
who Robert
Jeffrey
Maxwell is?
Epstein.
And do you not know Jeffrey Epstein's connected to Ghislaine Maxwell? Are you too stupid to put that together?
Okay.
No, I just don't know how stupid you are, because you don't think that Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein
This is
work
what I
together?
think. This is what I think. I think you should have Park McDougald on from Tablet Magazine, and I think you
Sounds
should
like a
litigate
retard. I don't
this
need Tablet
with-
Magazine to
I think you
realize that
should
Ghislaine
litigate
Maxwell
this
and
with
Jeffrey
him.
Epstein work together. You don't want to admit that because it connects all
I
the dots
think-
and it makes Israel look bad. And then you look at people like Tom
I
Alexandrovich,
just
a
want
pedophile.
to become a mediator.
No.
How can I help?
No, you can't
I'm
mediate because
feeling-
I'm sick of
feeling-
liars. I'm just sick of liars. Like you're the type of person
Okay,
when
I'm
Tom
gonna use some
Alexandrovich.
reflective
No,
language.
real
You
quick,
have
Jamie.
been hurt.
Hey, guys, let's.
Well, I just get pissed.
Yeah,
I get
just
pissed.
just bring it down. Just bring it
tell.
down.
I'm lying that
Bring it
Jeffrey-
down.
that Jeffrey Epstein didn't work for Mossad. I'm
Ale-
lying.
Yeah, because you're not connecting the dots. You're trying
So-
to. It's like
Hey,
Tom
hey,
Alexandrovich.
Alex,
why
Alex,
did
come on.
Benjamin Netanyahu lie? Tom
Alex, the fact
Alexandrovich
that you're so
got
sure
arrested.
about this and it makes you so angry.
Yeah, because I don't want
says
powerful
so much
people
more
molesting
about
kids on
your
airplanes.
character.
Yeah, I think
Alex,
that's
so
bad.
much
Alex,
more about your character
let's-
than
What is my character
anything
that
related.
I'm
to,
not a
like,
shill.
Hey,
and I'm
hey,
willing
hey,
to call
come on.
balls and strikes.
Bring the temperature down here a little
No,
bit.
I want to raise the temperature up because we're not pussies.
No!
I
It's
came
because
in
he
here.
hangs
No,
out
because
with
it's
Jake
9:30 and
Shields.
it's a
I don't
Friday,
give a
man.
damn.
I do give a
I'm
damn.
passionate about this,
Let's
and I
go
don't
to
want these
Super
people out here
Chats.
protecting Jeffrey Epstein. I
These
think
people.
it's a big deal.
She's
that we're
not
getting-
protecting
She's
Jeffrey
saying, oh, he
Epstein.
doesn't have any connection with Mossad. If he didn't have a connection
I
with
said
an
he didn't
intelligence
work for
agency,
Mossad.
Obviously, okay. Do you think Phil?
I think
I'll
he
ask you,
probably had a
do you
lot
think
of
that it's a
connections
possibility
with-
that,
but in
that
terms of
Jeffrey
who he was
Epstein
close
had a
to, the only
connection
person
to
he was close to
Mossad
was Amy
or the
Ross.
CIA.
If I understand correctly, he did not have a connection to Mossad or CIA. He had connection to powerful, like wealthy people. Now, whether or
Including
not
the
that
former
was
Prime Minister of Israel.
Don't
was
we have
that?
super chats?
Including the former Prime Minister
Was
of
his
Israel.
best friend was at his house all the time?
I swear we
Who's hanging out with the prime minister? Who's hanging out with the prime minister of the country? So
hey.
you're not just Joe Blow.
take it down.
No, I just
Yes.
get so mad because you guys are just so thick. It's like
Just
you
because
guys
we
call
don't
me
agree
crazy.
with you, chill
No, it's not
out.
that you don't have to agree with me. It's that she's saying that he's hanging out with the prime minister, and you're looking at me like I'm crazy because I think that he might work for the government if he's hanging out with the prime minister. You're the one gaslighting me. I'm not the crazy.
I'm not
You guys are
gaslighting
the ones
anyone.
that can't see the forest for the big tree in front of your face.
No,
talk
again, this
about
is
it
not
like it's any
gaslighting.
other
This is straight up
topic.
saying, okay, we don't see things the same way you do.
That's fine.
Generally, disagreement around this table is something that we take in stride. This is a very normal thing
Yes.
for people to disagree.
And yeah,
okay,
when it
we
comes
do
to-
not
when it
need
comes
to go
to
ahead and start
Israel or the
screaming at each
Mossad,
other like
No,
this.
sometimes
It
I like to
gets certain
sensationalize
people
things.
emotional.
I
And
just
there's a
get I just
reason.
get emotional because you can't defend it. Like can you defend how Benjamin Netanyahu just lied and said when Tom Alexandrovich just got arrested for doing a pedophile sting in Las Vegas that he wasn't actually arrested? Do you think that's cool that he lied about that, protecting another pedophile?
I think the fact that you tie pedophiles to Israel and not a country. Like
I didn't do that. The
UK,
pedophile that
for
works for the
example,
cybersecurity division, he's the one that did it. I'm not the one that diddled the kid. He diddled the kid. He happens to work directly for
So I think
Benjamin
if
Netanyahu.
so I think
and
if,
do you think that's
I
cool
think
that
if
Benjamin Netanyahu lied and said he wasn't
I think
arrested?
if Netanyahu lied about some pedophile,
Which he
then
did.
I think that he should be accountable for that lie. But without looking into some sort of accusation that you're leveling at Bibi Netanyahu, who I'm not even a fan of. Like, I can't stand Bibi Netanyahu.
Why are you not a fan of him?
And yet, well, not for the reasons you aren't.
What do you don't even know the reasons I don't like him. I don't like him because he bombs hospitals with
Exactly.
rescue workers who are trying to give aid.
Yeah, you
I don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to Netanyahu, like I know the way that like the media frames Netanyahu because I've been privy to the way that they framed Trump. And Netanyahu is the same type of figure internationally like Trump was. And so I find myself having to defend this guy that I don't even like because I know that certain things that people are saying about him is not true. But when it comes to the recent thing that just happened with the pedophile, I haven't actually cared enough to look into that, Alex.
Well, you can pull
so
up the
I don't
statement.
have an answer for you. And if you're telling me
that's
that
probably why
he,
you don't care about
and
Jeffrey
if you're
Epstein, 'cause
telling
you
me
don't
that
care
he
about
lied
powerful
that he,
pedophiles
about
molesting
that,
kids.
no, because I'm busy and I just happen to not have like checked the news that day. But if it happens that you're right about that,
I'm
then
right. Look it up.
But
Benjamin
because you
Netanyahu
get so
says it
emotional
lies.
about that topic, I wouldn't trust you. With other stuff, I would. But because this seems
Listen,
to
I
be
don't
the
need your
thing.
trust. You're defending Jeffrey Epstein, saying that he doesn't have any connection.
I don't
to
think
Mossad. You're
anybody
saying-
thinks that I'm defending Jeffrey Epstein.
Well,
the
I
idea
feel
that
like
the idea that there is no room for disagreement, like that is something that we don't do.
No,
Like,
we
he-
can
like-
disagree. We can disagree 100%. I'm just saying I'm allowed to get a little emotional about it because I feel like I'm getting gaslit. because
It's fair if you
We have registered your emotions.
if it's
I hear you. I'm so sorry you're feeling so emotional about this.
Hey,
right
I wear
now.
my heart on my sleeve. I'm the
I
pimp on the
know.
butt. What do you want to say, Jamie? Where do you think
What-
Israel fits in all this?
Oh, I don't. That's not my cup of tea.
So you can't have an opinion on it?
I just wonder, like, why
I
you're not so
try to
emotional
stay-
about like Sudan or Yemen or something. Where
Why the
there's
fuck do I
kids-
give a shit about Sudan and Yemen? I mean, I don't see them bombing hospitals on.
No, what are you talking about? There's literally there's like 87,000
Well,
children that are like
you know,
being starved right now.
I
in
guess the
Yemen.
Palestine, they just are doing such a good marketing campaign that I just can't even pay attention to
I
Sudan
think-
because my
I think
Telegram
that's the truest
feed
thing that
is
you've
having
said this
endless
entire time
that
about
might have
Israel.
been- Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is because there's just not consistency there.
Well, when you look at our politicians, and 88% of the politicians that are currently in office are all being funded by AIPAC, I think that you could see that it's a little bigger of a threat, AIPAC, than.
It's funny that you talk about AIPAC, but you don't talk about the ones being funded by the Qatar Foundation, and you don't talk about the ones being funded, and you don't talk about the ones being funded by NIAC.
Retarded if you would think that the Qatar has more influence than Israel. I think that you would be slow in the brain.
I don't think you. Yeah. Okay. I think that actually.
So how many Jewish
actually, if you look at the all you have to do is research it, and all you have to do is go one block.
They funded some colleges, so now that they own.
No,
all
you
the
can't
colleges,
go a block in
if
D.C.
you
That's
do
not
think
tainted
that
with
Israel is more powerful
Qatari
than
money. You know,
Qatar-
Qatari bought the congressional baseball game.
Okay, they donated to a baseball game, but
They didn't donate.
Are you
They
trying to tell me
literally
who
have been
has
playing
more
the long
influence
game.
on American
Qatar is the richest
Just
country
answer
in
the
the
question.
world.
Who has more influence on American politics, Israel or Qatar?
At this point in time, 100% Qatar.
You are
Before
so,
Obama,
so
Israel.
Stupid. You are literally
You
stupid.
just,
if you think
you
Qatar,
just don't. It's so sad because you're giving
Libby, you
in.
think Qatar has more
You just
influence
have no
in American
idea.
politics
You just have
than
no
Israel?
idea.
Libby, don't jump in for a minute. Let me say something.
Libby's
You just have- you
scared
don't
to
even.
jump in.
You
No,
probably have
but-
never
but
even
what's
heard of the Qatar
interesting-
Foundation.
I don't think you're making a very good argument. You're
Yes,
insulting
You just
exactly.
don't know, Alex.
All
Well,
you're turning around and
Because
doing
people are so obsessed with AIPAC that's all you hear. Do you even know about NORPAC?
Listen, when you look at the influence that AIPAC has,
Yeah, let's talk about it.
You can try to
Try
to distract me from that influence. It's
Okay,
a
let's talk
problem.
about AIPAC.
So,
Let's
but
look
no,
at.
but you're
They
not
don't
smart
even
enough.
meet.
You think Qatar
They don't even
has
meet
more
the top
influence
50
than Israel. So
in
obviously,
terms of
you're not
spending.
smart enough
Yes,
to
they
realize
spend
what's
more
going on
money
in the
than
world.
AIPAC. Yes.
Who's more powerful, Israel or Qatar?
In politics?
Yes, in
Right now,
everything.
Qatar.
Oh my! You think Qatar is more powerful?
Yes, and anybody who really studies this
do we
would
move
know
on
that. The
to?
only reason
Yeah,
that
we
you
can
don't
go
is
to
because
super-
you haven't
Yeah,
looked
it's time
into
for
it
super
because
chats.
everybody
Let's
talks
go to
about
super-
AIPAC.
let's go to
What
super
are-
chats.
You're
What are
gonna have to agree to
super chats?
disagree.
Super chats. People send messages in.
I'm
for the-
happy
in
to
the
hear
chat.
from the viewers.
Well,
let's
that's
do it.
fair, but
I would
normally
love
at 9:40 on like
do
the last 20 minutes we do super
Yeah.
chats. So let's go to super chats.
Hopefully we get some Jeffrey Epstein super chats. All right, what do we got for us, Serge? Which one? Pimp on a Blimp Cast IRL. Let's go. Let's close out this week with the Madman. Everyone have a great 3-day weekend. Peace, dudes, dudettes, and various tards. Thank you, Shane. We love Shane Wilder. Tim
Wilder.
just started a family. He's still running the company in the background. When he comes back, he's back. No, that's not what happened, our sergeant. He got hair transplants, and he's about to look like a freaking movie star when he comes back. Okay, I think we saw some big super chats over on YouTube. $2 super chat from Yoder. There will be a hair reveal. That will be tomorrow. You guys can see that on Rumble and YouTube on the Timcast channel. And what else do we get? Oh, $10 right here. Oh, is Destiny going to jail for CP? I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you think Destiny's going to jail?
I don't know about jail for child porn. He's a sex pest, and he was sharing pictures of a 17-year-old, I believe, and he was sexting with a 17-year-old. Now this guy's 35 or something like that.
35 at the time.
So I mean, it's obviously it's some bad behavior. Whether or not he will actually get prosecuted, that's up to the Florida State AG. I don't know, and I don't know if there's, I don't know what kind. I know that there is evidence, but I don't know if the AG will actually pick it up or not.
And I think that he's worried about the revenge aspect of it. I don't know if he's worried about the age aspect of it, because I think he shared another nude picture of somebody to a third party.
He's done it multiple times. There was a person that he shared nudes with, or shared nudes of, that I'm not sure if she gave them to him or if they were photos that he took.
Well, he got
But
a picture
shared
to a
them.
mutual friend, I think.
Yeah, and he showed them to someone else. And there's evidence that he was sexting, sending illicit messages, sexually oriented messages to a 17-year-old.
A different version.
To a different, totally different person.
Right.
So this is a pattern of behavior. I mean, I think the the state of Florida should look into it if it's a pattern of behavior, if this is kind of the stuff that he does. But I don't know. I can't say as to whether or not the state of Florida AG will.
Well, he's like the Teflon Don. I think he'll get away with it. All right, guys. Unravel Guardian. Longtime viewer, first-time chatter. We need to emphasize taking back of language. The left are not liberals. They do not believe in freedom. Illegals are not undocumented. They are breaking the law.
I agree with you 100%. Like, the left are not liberals. I do think that battle's been lost. I don't think that you're going to be able to convince, and I think it's been lost since the 90s. I think Rush Limbaugh did it. I think that you're not going to be able to convince conservatives that they are actually liberals. I don't think that you're going to be able to convince liberals that they are progressives. And there are progressives out there that will swear up and down that what are called liberals are just conservatives. The arguing over semantics will probably never end, and you're going to have to actually judge behavior. So if you're saying, "Oh, I don't think that property rights are take primacy. I don't think that individual rights take primacy." That's definitely an illiberal perspective. But I think that you're going to still going to see a lot of people that would call themselves liberals say those type of things. You have something?
Well, I just think the concept around language is so interesting. But the thing from my advocacy line, from what I see, is that trans and other similar parallel issues have totally, like, to me, shaken up who's even in which party anymore. Like, I think that we're undergoing this massive upheaval. Basically, everybody I know are former Dems. Like, we don't even, like, we're disaffected former Dems with nowhere to even go.
So to that point, would you consider yourself like a MAGA person?
I don't personally, but there are absolutely a ton of people that I know because of trans issues and women's rights issues right now that are completely, like, lost. And they do talk about MAGA. So I don't even know if we have, I don't know. I don't even know that we have two parties right now. I think that it's all in flux. Who would have thought that, like, the granola moms that didn't want like weird food dyes in their kids' tricks would be like MAGA now? It's like all in flux.
It's a big tent.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it is a big tent, but I do see, like, now, though, to the topic we were just kind of getting so heated about, though, the right is kind of eating its own with the woke right stuff, the pro-Israel, anti-Israel stuff. So
Well, I feel like you might like to.
No, I'm just saying it's kind of
Have a lot of-
causing a lot of attention, I think.
Do you want there to be a big tent, though, over on your side?
Of what? Of the political party? I guess kind of, but then you get it, like, I don't know, it's so big we want a bunch of transgenders doing weird stuff. So I don't know, the tent probably needs to say big, but not too big.
It's tough because you also have, like, all the Maha people, right? You have all the, like, RFK people who
He
were,
was
like,
on the
formal.
Jeffrey Epstein's plane 3 or 4 times. RFK was.
Yeah, okay. But, like,
weird.
all these people were also, like, former liberals, right? Turned MAGA. So it is tough. Like, you do have this really big tent, but at what point do you assert red lines when it comes to, like, actual conservative values, right?
One of the biggest conversations that is occurring right now, I will say, in the LGB is do we continue to try to get the left and the Dems to shift on trans, or instead do we pivot and focus to the conservatives and get you all to adjust? I don't know if you're not y'all. It was more like a Missouri y'all, but
Proud MAGA conservative.
yeah, but I mean, or do we shift and try to focus on MAGA conservatives just saying that marriage is off the table?
You mean gay marriage?
Yeah. Like,
Well, I mean, it's something a
Wait,
lot of people are in favor of getting rid of it.
okay, so
Shift to getting MAGA to support gay marriage?
yeah.
Well, the problem is that the Obergefell ruling really opened up that's the Obergefell's gay marriage
Supreme Court ruling.
And
Under Obama?
yeah, was it under Obama? I think so. But
Yes.
the problem with it is that it really opened the door to a lot of crazy things. Like in Somerville, polyamorous marriages are recognized, Somerville, Massachusetts, and there's other places where this is happening as well, where, essentially what we used to call bigamy or polygamy and say that's bad for women, you can't do that, now is being recognized as legal in some places because of the Obergefell ruling. And I think that kind of thing is probably not great for children and also probably not great for,
Well, should
women
it be left up
and-
to the
and
states?
civilization.
Like abortion?
Well, it sort of is, because anything is legal. Like any kind of marriage is legal. You can marry your pillow essentially because of Obergefell. So it opens the door to a lot. Listen, I marched in favor of gay marriage when it was, when that was a thing to do. And I went out with my friends and did that. And we marched against the DNC and we marched against the RNC and like whatever else. Like,
no, but you're saying, but what did the Supreme Court made it legal?
The Supreme Court made it legal in all states.
Right.
So that marriage has to be recognized across all states.
So if you repealed that and you just like Roe v. Wade and you put it in the states,
well, that's a problem as well. If you look at interracial marriage, if you look back at the Loving decision, which was essential so that marriages could be legal across state lines, which of course it has to be. So, but it's a very interesting situation. And I think that it would be very difficult. My point basically is that I think that it would be very difficult to get all the conservative world on board with gay marriage and on board with the Obergefell ruling, because you already have people in the, conservative Protestant realms saying that they want Obergefell to be repealed. And you've had some politicians being like, yeah, I would support the repeal of Obergefell. So I don't know if you could get it with that ruling. It might have to be a different kind of ruling than that one to get it.
I had this gay roommate my sophomore year of college in New York. And I, at that point, had kind of just started flirting with my political identity. I didn't really know who I was at that point, coming from the Bay Area. I had assumed I was a Democrat, but a lot of progressive stuff didn't sit well with me. But this roommate I thought was so interesting because she was a lesbian who was against gay marriage. And her argument was that she basically was like, I go and march in gay pride parades because I want to be acknowledged as like different and special because I am. I'm like and she's like, and so I want a different institution set up for gay people. She's like, I don't want to be put in this like traditional religious construct of like man and women. She's like, as long as I have all the same rights that I would get in a traditional marriage, I don't need you to call it marriage, because I don't want to like blend in with everybody else.
One of the things that queer activists, and I'm using the term as the politically queer, one of the things that queer activists have, or an objection that they have, is that if you make marriage legal for gay people, for gay, lesbian, and queer people, and then they start doing the heteronormative thing just with a person of the same sex, you actually are killing queer people. They say
Wait, I don't understand that.
So if you're politically queer, like queer is a political stance. It's a way of being as opposed to being heteronormative. If you're a heteronormative person.
Oh, so it's
your roommate's perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
So she would
You're
be
trying
saying,
to conform to this
Yes.
traditional construct.
And it makes queer people invisible.
Jamie?
I think that queer as a concept is part of the same ideology that drove or drives trans.
Absolutely, yes.
And so
100%.
much of that is about the destruction of things like nuclear families. You look like you have like...
No, because we're talking about gay marriage. You have two dudes want to go have a ceremony and fake marry each other. I mean, go ahead. I guess it shouldn't be illegal, but like the fact that...
I don't think you and I are going to be good friends.
Well, I'm just saying, you guys can go wear two suits. I'm going to laugh at two, chicks with dicks or whatever kind of get married. It is funny.
But what... Okay, think about...
The highest occurrence of headaches are actually women, and that's proof that dating, lesbians, they can't even date each other. So like the divorce rate in lesbians is so incredibly high. How high is the divorce rate in lesbians?
So what I'm going to say...
The highest out of
what
any
I'm going to
couples.
say is this, is the
Maybe they shouldn't get
reason
married.
why marriage matters.
Because people want to do a ceremony. Because every girl's dream is to get married.
No, it's not about
financial?
It's not about the suits. It's not about the cake. It's about
It's
none of
literally
that.
all about the wedding.
No. What it is about is that for decades, if my partner was dying in a hospital room,
Exactly.
I could not go in that room to be with them in their dying moment because I was not legally recognized as their significant other. I think many gays and lesbians do not care about the cake or the suits, or if you want to laugh at it. All we are asking for is some level of that basic dignity that if our loved one is dying, we have the right to be with them in the room at that
I
last
hear that
moment.
example a lot. And like, I guess we need gay marriage just so you can go in the hospital, even though they could designate
It doesn't
you
even
as
have
a
to be
caregiver.
called
But
marriage.
regardless,
but
I
we
agree.
have
That's
to
what I
have
was
the
gonna
legal
ask you.
I know, and I agree.
of that
Like for
relationship.
insurance, it's your partner. You want the company's insurance. insurance to cover them too. I get that. I get why people would want those legal protections, but you could probably give those people legal protections without necessarily having to make them get married. But honestly, I don't give a damn. Two gays want to get married. You guys want to, scissor on the damn, down the aisle. I don't care. But I can tell everybody wants to get through a lot of these super chats. I got a text from Sean. So Artemis, we love you, Alex, Clinton, Kelsey, you guys rule. Let's try to get through a bunch. Eric Shaver. Oh, they want Nick Fuentes to guest host, so that'd get a lot of views. Nice show, Stein. Lady Katie. That was Artemis again. Let's see what other ones we got. We can run through. Oh, they want to talk about the USS Liberty. Okay, well, that's a topic for another day. All right. Any other super chats that I missed, Serge, that I should? Here we go from Said Yane. I don't know how to pronounce that. I moved recently to a new city, and within a week, I knew my way around. We have been here for 6 months now. My wife, who drives more than me, still can't get around. I don't use GPS. She does. Oh, good for you. You know how to get around. Congratulations, buddy. Nobody gives a damn, but we are appreciative of the $10. Okay, what is this? Elon Musk should be able to buy an F-22. Maybe, I guess. Let's see. Is there something about Puff Daddy down there that I saw? All right, well, guys, what a show. I think Libby over here is having a panic attack. She hasn't said 5 words since I got mad at Karys. How do I say that?
Spit in that direction. She was just making sure you didn't spit in her direction.
No, Libby doesn't like it. See, this is the thing. When you're an alpha male like me, when you're a top dog like me, a lot of women, they cower because I got a lot of power. I'm the pimp on a blimp. AOC was a victim of mine. Me just talking to a woman directly, it can make them, get a little dry. But I'll tell you this much, I get most of them wet. So, all right, guys, I'm Primetime 99 Alex Stein. I'm the pimp on a blimp. Don't act like, Jamie, you're not vibing. You know you're vibing. You know that. You know you like the pimp. Look at that smile. Show her smile. Jamie, your smile, even though you can't get gay married, we can get regular married. How about that?
What I like is I like it when people have a personality and have so much big.
I have a personality disorder.
I have
personality disorder.
That very well could be.
So that might not be a good thing. Okay, let's go around the horn. Libby, where can people find you and support you?
You can find me on Twitter at Libby Emmons and at thepostmillennial.com. Also, you can check out what we're doing at humanevents.com. I would be most grateful if you signed up for my newsletter, which you can do at thepostmillennial.com/Libby. Thanks. Karys?
You can also find me on X. My handle is just my last name and then my first name, so at Rhea Karys. And if you want to learn about all the lies that you've been told about Israel and Jews, then you can sign up for my newsletter. DM me.
What's your newsletter?
I just send out an email on my couch with some articles every day.
So how do people sign up for it?
They can just send me a message with their email.
On Twitter?
I'll put them on, yeah.
At Rhea Karys.
Extra exclusive. I like that. Well, guys, definitely sign up. Jamie, you've been great. Where can people find you and support you?
I am at Jamie Whistle because I am a legally recognized whistleblower, and I also run an organization, co-direct it with another lesbian.
I love lesbians. Are you kidding? I'm not anti-lesbian. I'm anti-gays sometimes. Some of these guys.
Called the LGB Courage Coalition. We are on X. We are on Facebook. We have a Substack.
I'm going to go report the page. Go and report those pages right now. That's a joke. Do not do that. I'm kidding. And I do love lesbians. Sorry.
Subscribe. And we are a huge advocacy organization. So if you're looking to help get some of these laws changed so that kids pediatrically cannot be medically transitioned, we would be an organization to support.
Wait, real quick though. So you are the TERF that we were talking about earlier. I mean, you are a trans exclusionary radical feminist.
I'm actually not a radical feminist.
Okay.
So that is where.
Is that possible to be a lesbian and not be a feminist?
I didn't
not
say
a radical feminist.
Not a radical. Feminist.
Okay, so you're just a TEF.
But I also think that word doesn't is J.K. Rowling really a radical feminist? But people said she was.
She is because she's pro-abortion.
Oh, okay,
okay. Gotcha. So to be a radical feminist, it includes pro-abortion.
I'm raising 5 boys.
So it really is
radical liberation. Yeah. No, it's it's basically progressive, but you don't think dudes are girls.
Okay.
That's their only.
But it's pretty far left.
Like the second wave.
Very
the
left.
Second wave.
Yeah,
very
like
left. They just don't like it's like why, and it makes sense. Why wouldn't a lesbian not want to compete against a biological male in sports? You know what I mean? So that's obvious.
About just any woman might not.
Any woman, but I'm saying specifically lesbian.
Biological man.
Well, see, a lesbian. At least with a guy, I could kind of seduce one of the players. Maybe I was with, like if I was Leah Thomas. But if they're a lesbian, then they have no sexual interest in me. So then I got no redeeming quality. So you're extra fucked up. Okay, all right. Phil, what do you got for us, bro?
I am Phil that remains on Twitter. Twix. The band is all that remains. You can check us out on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora, Deezer, and YouTube. Don't forget, The Left Lane is for crime. There will be clips all weekend, and we will not be here on Monday because it's Labor Day, so we will see you guys all on Tuesday, I believe.
And Serge, what do you got going on? Thank you. You crushed it tonight, Serge. You were on me a couple times about my mic discipline, and I really appreciate the professionalism that you showed tonight. I didn't show the exact same myself, so I want to apologize to some of the ladies here, and I'm not you, Karys. But no, I'm kidding. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. And but yeah, Serge, you want to shout out anything before we go?
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, don't
Shout out
follow
your
Serge.
Twitter. Go on your Twitter. Dude, your Twitter's unhinged. Sir, everybody needs to follow Serge.
Twitter's kind of crazy.
He is very outspoken on there. Some of his takes, I'm worried he might lose his account. So it's definitely some spicy stuff if you guys are interested in that. And that's been our show. Once again, tomorrow, it's going to be huge. I think it's Tim's biggest skate event that they've had here so far, the Boonies HQ Skate Off. I think that's what it's technically called, but it will be a skate competition that you can watch on YouTube and Rumble. Please go and support Cash Brew Coffee. Please support Tim. You know, it's hard being independent like this. You know, I know he works for Rumble, but he didn't get that Daily Wire money. He needs some of your money. So thank you for all the people that gave super chats tonight. I know we were not able to get through all of them, but you know, some of you big ballers, we appreciate that greatly. I know Serge does. And I guess with all that being said, did I forget anything? Did I shout out anything? Is that okay? And this week has been an emotional week. I'll say that. There's been a lot of drama. Mike Benz has hosted. Jack's hosted. Obviously, Phil's been here all week. And Tim is going to come back, and he's going to be the sexiest he's ever been. And I want all the ladies. I know he is in a loving relationship, but if you guys could help his self-esteem and be very complimentary of him, Jamie. And I know you're a lesbian, but do you mind sending him a DM saying that his hair looks good? Because if it comes from a lesbian, he's going to appreciate that more. And will you do the same, Libby? Will you compliment his new hair plugs?
Sure.
It's like pulling teeth with some of these ladies. All we want is a little compliment, maybe dinner, and maybe just shut your mouth after 8 p.m. You know what I mean? And these ladies never want to comply. But, you know, compliance is what silence is compliance.
You
so
just
speak
complained
up.
that I wasn't talking. And
Oh, I love complaining. No, I'm a hypocrite. That's
that
one thing you're going to learn about me. I'm a hypocrite. I complain.
Alex,
Proud
they
hypocrite.
all got to go back.
No, the big booty Latinas can say, if you're a 9, you're fine. I will radicalize Phil to this. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to tune in next week. They're off Monday, but they will be back Tuesday. Tim is going to be back in full effect with his Fabio locks, and Jamie's going to be sending him nude pics. Love you guys. Peace.